24-hour charity stream we're doing with AFTV and the United Stand, and I'm here with the Sunday morning transfer review. The link's in the video description. I think we've gone over 13,100, so we're going to be pushing to get to 15,000 in the last 3 hours you've got of me. Lots to talk about. We'll be talking about Newcastle and what that does for football if they get taken over by the Saudis. We'll also be talking about return of the Premier League, etc., and a few interesting things coming up overnight around the, Robbie Fowler talking about Paul Pogba, saying he should watch the 1984 European Cup final, then he'll understand what a legend is. I presume this is just a continuation of the Souness versus Pogba thing, but I just think, Robbie Fowler, get back down to sniffing down touchlines, because what are you talking about? No, go and watch a game from 1984. It's 2020, mate. Go and watch a game out from 1984. It's like telling me to go and watch Batman from the 60s with Adam West. No thanks. I think I'll watch it with Christian Bale. It's far better. And watching something from the 60s, which is crap, just going to make me depressed. So I don't know what Robbie Fowler's sniffing this week, but he's totally wrong. He's sniffing Graham Souness' arse. That's what he's sniffing. But total load of crap. And Pogba, don't bother watching 1984, which I actually think is quite a good film in itself, but not 1984 Liverpool Cup finals. I mean, bloody hell. I know it's lockdown, but it's not the end of the world yet. So Robbie Fowler talking out his arse as per usual. What do you expect? But great to have you all with me. Smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. And actually, I keep saying that because it's just stuck in my head. Links in the video description. Please do get contributing. We'll be reading some of the donations out very, very soon. We're trying to get up to 15,000 on this final push. We will hit 20,000. We will hit a total of 20,000 if we can do 15,000 before midday. Because remember, we've got super chats and a couple of other contributions that I know are going to come in. So lots and lots to do in this last 3 hours. And it's a bit like a United Stand Sunday supplement. And you're very welcome if you're non-United fans, because we've got lots of other football news to talk about. But we'll start off with United. A few things that's coming in overnight. Jadon Sancho wage battle. Jadon Sancho, Manchester United ready to offer Jadon Sancho a huge pay increase, but talks that Dortmund might actually see this as an opportunity for themselves. And I'll bring in something a little bit un-United related here. I don't know whether you saw the interview. I think it was the chief executive or the chairman of Brighton. And he was saying in relation to the Premier League meeting on Friday about the return of football, he was basically saying that I don't see how you can relegate teams if you don't finish the season, which doesn't go good for Liverpool, because Liverpool want the title and they want the title whether the season finishes or not. Well, that they can forget that. The season needs to be finished. And a Brighton chairman or chief executive quite rightly saying you can't relegate a team if you don't finish the season. But what he also said is, a player that was worth 15 million before the lockdown is not going to be worth 15 million pounds now. And when you bring this into the Jadon Sancho scenario, or an Aubameyang scenario, or a Timo Werner scenario, or any player that you think is going to move in the summer, this stands true. But the problem is, that's a logical interpretation of the fact that if Jadon Sancho was worth 100 million pounds in February, he isn't worth it now in April because of the lockdown. But he is if Dortmund decide he is. And Dortmund might well go, well, look, I know we're in lockdown, but financially we've lost a little bit of money, but we're not actually going to buy anybody now. And we'll use that money that we've got to give Jadon Sancho a big wage increase. And this is where the story is. Could Dortmund now chuck a big wage at Sancho to make him stay, in the knowledge that in a year or two, the transfer window will bounce back? Effectively, what I'm saying is, if United say we're not paying 100 million pounds for Jadon Sancho, we're giving you 70 million pounds because that's what the market is, and Dortmund go up yours, we'll use 20 million of that we're losing from 100 to 70 to pay him a good wage for a year, and then in a year we'll get the 100 we wanted or more. So this could be an issue for Manchester United, and I think certain players, there won't be a depreciation of value, and I think this is where the boffins and the statisticians and everybody says, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, there's going to be a massive drop in transfer fees. I think there will be for clubs that are desperate to sell, but I don't think there will be for prime assets. Jadon Sancho, it's like being at a cattle market, or, well, no, vegetarians won't like that. It's like being at a dog show. Do they sell dogs at dog shows? I don't know. But he is a pedigree dog, Sancho, not in a literal sense, but you know what? He's a pedigree. He's pedigree. And there is a price that you have to pay for that. So Manchester United are going to have to pay top dollar for Jadon Sancho, as well as good wages. I think we understand that. Good morning, Mark. Proud of what you guys have achieved. Thank you for that, Russell Burton. We will be getting some guests on in a bit. I just need to know who's up and who's awake, but we will be doing that. And let me. I'll get Robbie over in a minute as well. Also, let me talk to you about Eric Bay and Koulibaly. This is Manchester United news as well. I've got my coffee, don't worry. Waking up to Goldbridge live is a good morning, says Andy Barnes. Yeah, I'm here. Keep sharing the video. Let's see how many people we can get watching, and let's keep getting in the contributions. We can do 15K. We can do it. United Stand, every stream we've done, we've pushed it, and we can push it hard again. Push it real good. So yes, Koulibaly, this is the next story I want to talk about. And then I want to talk about Newcastle and bring everybody in. Because it brings, that's relevant to United. Did you know that the Newcastle new owners are actually the Saudi Arabian owners that many United fans wanted to take over us? But it's a bigger picture, isn't it? Because if you're an Arsenal fan or a Chelsea or a City or a Liverpool fan, this is an issue. If Newcastle get taken over, they've got the richest owners in the world. They're richer than the Man City ones. So what can they do? What they're going to do? Balls are red and are blue. But seriously, what are they going to do? I'm old enough, unlike many of you, and maybe Robbie might come on and talk about this, or maybe he just wants to go to sleep. But I'm old enough, like many of you, to know that I remember Blackburn with money. I remember Chelsea with money. And I remember Manchester City with money as well. So it can make a difference. United Stand and AFTV are smashing it. Well done, everyone. NHS staff are amazing. Thank you to them. We appreciate your hard work, says Sean Turner. And didn't think you'd make it. Well done to everyone, says Damn it. Oh, mate, and 220 million will get you Sancho, Koulibaly and Partey. This will solidify third place, even fight for second, says Abdullah. It's been a massive effort. I just want to say to everybody who is watching all the streams, I thought the quiz last night was immense, absolutely brilliant effort. I loved the quiz last night, especially because me and Rants beat AFTV. That was enjoyable, but the quiz was brilliant. And I think that the way we've done it, and AFTV done it as well, there's a lot of content that you can go back and listen to and watch and get involved in. And that's what we've tried to do across the 24 hours. And I think most of us have enjoyed it. In fact, here he is. I think here he is, Don Robbie. I was just saying that. I think it's been a great effort, but I think most of us have enjoyed it so much that I think we'll be sad when it's midday. It's
been absolutely brilliant, Mark. The response has been incredible. The amount of money that people have donated, the amount of people that have got involved, has been absolutely amazing. And I was saying whilst we were doing our stream, the fact that, basically me and you spoke about this, about a week ago? Just over a week ago. And remember, we were just like, it'd be good if we could get together and do something. What do you reckon? And you're like, yeah, you're right. And within that short space of time, for us to come together, I mean, we're deadly rivals on the pitch, but for us to come together, and our sort of two teams, because it weren't just me and you, our team and your team, put it together and execute it in such a short space of time. And for so many people from so many different clubs to get involved, and then for everybody to respond. And remember, there's no football on at the moment as well. So I think it's been amazing. It was a challenge, but it's been amazing. And the amount of money that's been raised and the super chats and that, it's been absolutely incredible. And I'm not a veteran of the live thing like you are, right? So it's been a great experience. And so, no, I've really, really, really enjoyed it. So, no, it's good. And you're going to take it home now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if anyone didn't watch the quiz last night, and I don't know what's gone on overnight because I just grabbed a bit of sleep when I could, the quiz, I'm going to watch it back because I thought Claude's meltdowns, and he started badly and then he got it back and then he got bad again on the wine. It was a journey with Claude. It was like one of these curves.
I just had him and DT on the channel towards the end. I don't know if you saw it. I was slating them both. I was like, I sent you two out to represent us. And DT said that he won it overall, didn't it, individually? But yeah, Claude was so crap that we ended up losing it. And apparently, Claude, I was watching some of it, and Claude, I kept seeing him with some little wine glass.
Oh, yeah, 3 bottles, apparently. It was hilarious. We'll have to do a rematch.
He's trying to tell me that he thought it was going to be all football. He goes, I didn't know it was going to be.
There was plenty of football in there. He still didn't get them right.
I know. I saw he was awful, but no, it's all in a great spirit, and he enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. Those guys have been brilliant. So no, it's been great, man. I've really enjoyed it. And your time
Robbie,
now.
I'm just going to read this out. I don't know whether you saw it before because it's only from 6 minutes ago, so you might have missed it. And it's a contribution from someone called Steve Dick, and he says, "Robbie, I remember you in the days from your reggae. Fabulous thing that AFTV and United Stand are doing. Void the season and Arsenal in the Champions League." And he's donated 500 quid. So that's pushed us up to 13,700. So that's an amazing contribution. And I think that was one that he was talking to you about. So you might have just missed it before as you carried on.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And as I said, the real stars of this is everybody who's donated because, as I said earlier, we know that at the moment things are tight. You know what I mean? Even if you're on furlough or you haven't lost your job or whatever, but it's an uncertain time. So to see people still, putting their hands into their pockets and giving has been absolutely amazing. So thanks, Mark. I'm going to go get a little bit of a kick now. And what I'll try and do is I'll try and come back to you just before the end. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'll try and come back in. But listen, do your thing, man. You're the pro at this.
So, if we get 15k by midday, I think with the super chats and a little bit of help, we'll hit the 20 grand. I think we can do that. So that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
It's been amazing. So take it away, bro. All right.
Cheers, Robbie. I'll speak to you in a bit. Right then, that's the challenge. Then he's set us. We've got to go and get this 15k, which I think we can do. We're on 13,700. So I know it's Sunday morning, but what else you got to do? We're on lockdown. So contribute what you can. The link's in the video description. Share the video. Look, I know a lot of you are going to contribute because I know what the United Stand can do. We can bring this home. This is what we're like, the relay race, the United Stand. We said who's going to start it and who's going to finish it. And I said, look, if you give us a chance to win it, we'll win it. And that's what we're going to do. 9 o'clock till midday. We've got a chance to get to 15k. And if we get 15k and over, I think we'll do 20 with the super chats and everything that we've got to add up. So let's take it home, United Stand community. You've done it before. We've done it for Marie Curie. We've done loads of these things before. We're the home leg of the relay. And we're going to have a bit of fun as well. We've got loads of things to talk about. We're going to talk about the top 5 midfielders in the league. We're going to talk about some of the most underrated and overrated players in the Premier League now and in the past. I'm going to come back to controversial signings because I love that. We played that yesterday afternoon. I absolutely loved it. We did it with Lawrence. I said, you've got to take 2 United players and put them in the first team, which basically means as a Liverpool fan, he's got to take 2 United players, put them into a starting team of Liverpool and take 2 out. And we did it with Rants with Spurs. So we're going to do a few more of those. And topical stuff as well. And we were just talking before Robbie came on there about the Newcastle takeover, which we'll come back to in a minute. But just a little bit more Manchester United news because it does impact on people. Koulibaly is a player. I mean, I don't really think Manchester United are going to sign a centre-back, but Koulibaly is a player that we've been strongly linked to. This morning, there is talk, and this is more about what I expect, that Manchester United will swerve a deal for Koulibaly, potentially letting him go to a rival like Manchester City and stick with Eric Bailly. Manchester United at the moment, we've got Maguire, we've got Lindelof, we've got Eric Bailly, and we've got Twansebi, and we've got Pink Boots, who, to be honest with you, there's no future in them Pink Boots, is there? So, but is there a future in Eric Bailly, or should we be going for Eric Koulibaly? I don't know who he is. Kalidou Koulibaly. Should we go for Kalidou Koulibaly? I mean, it's a development of something that I didn't even think. I think Eric Bailly, I'm not even saying this to be controversial. It's Sunday morning. I've not had a drink or anything like that. The only thing I've got is my coffee. I think that Eric Bailly, if he stays fit, he's probably our best centre-back. He's quick. His aerial stats are as good as Maguire's, which is Maguire's best trait. He's decent on the ball as well. But the problem is his injury record is appalling. So that's the risk, isn't it? I've always said this. Like, it doesn't matter how good your centre-back is. If they've got a poor injury record, you may as well sell them and get a slightly worse centre-back. In Koulibaly, you're getting a slightly better centre-back. And the age difference with Eric Bailly, I'm not 100% sure how old Eric Bailly is. I think, as a guess, he's 27, but I'm not 100%. So he's 26. He's just 26, actually. So well done, Eric. You're a whole year younger. So that actually helps you out a little bit. So he's 26, and Koulibaly's got to be 29 this summer. Let's have a look. Yeah, 29 in June. So there's actually a 3-year difference virtually in Bailly and Koulibaly, which for me sort of swings it back a bit. But I don't know. It does swing it back a bit. I'm a big fan of Koulibaly. But if Eric Bailly can stay fit, that's what it's all about. So there's talk that United might not get a centre-back and stick by Eric Bailly. Jayant says that Newcastle are no, he didn't. No, he didn't. It was Edgar Jurgles says that Newcastle are a sleeping giant. Ben Jenkins with a super chat says, "Hi, Mark. What are you doing is absolutely amazing. Well done to Robbie and his team too. Really hope you do one of these again." We will do, Ben. We will do one again. The thing about these things is it's got to be for the right reasons. And obviously, we're doing this for the NHS because the NHS is massively underfunded in our country. And people can say, well, it's not a charity, it should be government funded. But a lot of things should be government funded and they're not. But the reality is the NHS at the moment are saving lives, will save lives over the coming weeks and months, and are putting their lives on the line. So doing things like this and making that difference. And also, it's what it says in the top corner. It's football fans for the NHS. We're sending a message out today, football fans for the NHS. And I know I saw Matt Lucas from Little Britain was on AFTV. I've seen some cracking guests on there, and Kevin Campbell and some others. But to be honest with you, on the United stand, I knew when we had a week to set this up, can we get any ex-United players on? Can we get celebrities on? And the reality is, we've tried to do it in the past for things like this in the past. And even though they're on lockdown, you get a brick wall. So we did it our way. We did it different to AFTV. We did the Flex and Rant show. We did the quiz and we interacted with you and we raised a lot of money. And I don't think those people would have created any more revenue at all, because it's you who make the difference, not them. And it's football fans for the NHS, not ex-players for the NHS who could just dip into their pockets and pay 40 grand in a minute. So we've done this as for football fans. It's football fans. And there's always this crap all over social media about actors, Forest fan, toxic, making money off the club. Oh, nonsense, just bitter people. Have you contributed for the NHS in the last 24 hours, or have you gone on Twitter and wrote a load of crap? I know what you've done. You've gone on Twitter and wrote a load of crap because you're bitter, sad people. And I tell you what, at some point in your life, you will need the NHS. So these people are out there being negative and everything like that. I just think it's fantastic what you have achieved, what football fans have achieved. And I'm not talking Manchester United stand fans. I'm talking everybody who's got involved, because I know a lot of people came over to watch the quiz from my FIFA stream last night. They're not all United fans. I know people have come from AFTV. I know there's Liverpool fans. I know loads of people. And the reality is we're united by our love for football. And that, whatever the bottom line is, and I'm confident we'll hit 20 grand with what we've got to add on, will be an amazing achievement over 24 hours in a time where we're in lockdown, there is no football, and, you know, it's amazing what we've done. Hi, Mark, what are you doing? You've done that from Ben Jenkins. Thank you very much. Tom Lambo, congrats for how much money raised. Great to see two football channels coming together for NHS. Who do you think Newcastle's first signing will be? Well, Tom's brought us back into something topical there. Remember the links in the video description for the Just Giving page. I'm going to go back there again and read some more out, and keep sharing the video as well this Sunday morning. We're trying to get up to 14 grand and then 15 grand before midday. We can do it. We will do it. We've got the baton on the United stand and we're going to run it home. We've just spoken about Jadon Sancho, Ethan Thea. There is a story coming out that Dortmund may look to keep Sancho by boosting his wage. Now, someone would say, well, no, you're talking crap. Dortmund can't afford it. Well, we'll hold this thought for a moment. I think that with regards to Dortmund, if they can't get the fee they want, 100 million, and United are only willing to offer 70, that 30 million they're going to lose, they could just put that into wages and then get the 100 million next year. It could be a short-term thing where they give him massive wages to keep him for a year when his value goes up, and then they'll end up making money, if that makes sense. So you spend the money on increased wages, but his value's dropped at the moment. So the increased wages for a year to make its value go up in a year when everything's sorted out, it works. And that might be a theory. Basically, United aren't going to get Jadon Sancho on the cheap. They're going to have to pay big wages and a big transfer fee because he's a pedigree player. Now, the imposter says Pep to Newcastle. Let's come back to this topical story then, because everyone can get involved in this. Newcastle, Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, maybe not Arsenal and Spurs. Are Newcastle about to join the top four race party? Leicester, may as well put them in. This has been the story of the last week that I've not really taken much notice of. And I don't know, I'm glad that we've got this opportunity on a Sunday morning over a coffee and chill to discuss it. Next, Newcastle will be the next Blackburn, says Davian Francis. Rafa back at Newcastle, says Chris Ayres. Vidal to Newcastle, says Sakin. That's the story this morning. We're going to go through some of the topical general transfer news this morning. But Vidal, Arturo Vidal, formerly of Barcelona, I think he's now at Bayern Munich, or have I got that the wrong way around? Actually, I think I have. He could be going to Newcastle. Newcastle could be about to be taken over by Saudi Arabian royal family, which I think is Bin Salman, if I'm not being ignorant there, which is the same connection Manchester United had pretty much since last summer to Christmas. They're richer than Man City's owners. This is the owners that Manchester United fans wanted. Look, I'm going to be honest. I think the way Manchester United have run the club over the last few months has been excellent. I think they've changed their attitude towards fans. They've been far better communicators. They've been far better in relation to public relations. Absolutely, 100%. You can take that from me. I know they've been better. I've seen what they've been doing is better. And I've had some of the communications that they're doing better. But do I still think the Glazers are good owners for Manchester United? No, I don't. And that will have to be proved, because they've been here for over 10 years. They've been here for a long, long time, like 15 years. And they're business people. They're not Manchester United football fans. They're business people. If you offer them first place Premier League trophy and 100 million, or second place and 500 million, I can't make it any more blunt than that. If you said to the Glazers, you can have first place Premier League trophy and 100 million, or you can have second place and 500 million, or even 300 million, actually. Let's make it a little bit closer. So first Premier League title and 100 million, or second place and 200 million. They'll take the 200 million. They'll take the more money over a Premier League trophy, because they're business people. And this is what United fans know. It's not having a pop at the Glazers or the Woodwards of this world. That's who United are. That's what we've seen United to be. Yes, we do spend money, because we have to spend money, because we're a huge club with a huge fan base. You can't not buy players. But do they spend as much as they should spend from the club, that the revenue that it makes? No, they don't. So I don't like the Glazers as owners, and I've never liked them. And it's nothing about, being vile or abuse. I just don't. They're not football people. They're not owning our club to make us a good football club. They're owning our club to make us a good football club, but also to make them primarily more money. And there are other clubs in the Premier League like that. So when you get the Saudi Arabians potentially taking over Manchester United, which is what we had, there's a moral issue there, of course, and that's one that Newcastle, I'm sure, a lot of them will sideswipe and go, whatever, we just want the money, because that's what a lot of United fans wanted to do. And these people are going to buy whatever club and try and make it like PSG or Man City, the best club in the world. And the reality is, it's not going to be Manchester United that they're going to buy. It's going to be Newcastle United. And what does that mean for the rest of the Premier League? If you're an Arsenal fan, a Liverpool fan, a Manchester United fan, a Chelsea fan, what does Newcastle, with the richest owners in the world, do to the football landscape? So we're going to talk about that. Ian97 says, what you're doing is amazing. The dedication you have to your audience is incredible, and hopefully you can raise a lot for the NHS. Love from Ireland. Thank you very much. Paul Gray says, it's not personal, it's business. Give a shout out to my mate, Alec Alagala, watching the United stand with me. There you go, says Vin Barar. Thank you very much. Well, I'm just going to have a quick look at the totals on the board, because I'm going to be very focused on this, because this is what we're about over the next few hours as we go to midday, which will be the end of the 24-hour stream. We're currently on £13,905. We're going to talk about Newcastle in a moment. £13,905. We've got to get to 15,000. We are £95 away from 14,000, which will get us on that sort of home straight to 15 grand, which is what I've set as the target for this stream. We've got the baton. Let's do it. Seb Johnson, thanks for your contribution. Alex Frederick says, big up NHS and thanks for all your content. £5 from him. Stephen Cooper, £9. Thank you very much. Amar Byron with 20 says, I'm extremely proud when we have channels are able to unite and do this. Huge respect for the hosts as well. There's been some cracking work. Flex and Rants on the 3 o'clock shift. Big shout out to them and Adam and Saeed and everyone who came on there. I've got to rewatch some of that, because I honestly had to get a bit of sleep. Gary Turner for the Real Heroes of This World. An anonymous one. Another anonymous £30. An anonymous £10. Alex Connor as well. Anonymous £17. lots and lots of contributions. Let me just make sure I cover all of them here because I don't want to miss shouting people out in the last few hours. Ian Banks, Ian L. Herbert, thank you very much. And he says, your efforts have and will never go unnoticed. It's a small thing what we're doing for people who are doing this every day on the front line, Ian. And I'm just glad that we as a community can do something. Idris says, love what you guys have done for charity. Thanks for being here in these hard times. NSD 17, Kieran, Gary B, Justin Serdert, and Nads A. That's everybody who's contributed on our stream since 9 a.m. So keep contributing. The link's in the video description for you to do that. We have got an 8 o'clock United Stand show tonight as well. I'm going to get Ricky and Saeed on because they're just funny on a Sunday night and I need a little bit of company and light relief. So there you go. Interesting comment there from Lashman. He says he's a Chelsea fan. He says Newcastle could get Sancho, which is interesting from a Chelsea fan because Chelsea are very much in the race for Jadon Sancho. I'm not going to dispute that. Obviously, United are in the race. Could you get a late entry from Newcastle? Well, this is where I'm going to be blunt and honest here. Please keep sharing the video as well, by the way. We've got nearly 3,000 watching. The more people we have watching, I think the more contributions we'll get. It stands to reason, doesn't it? So I remember Blackburn getting money. And I remember Chelsea getting money. And I remember Manchester City getting money. And none of those teams won the Premier League straight away. I think Blackburn had to get promoted. And then they had a title race. And then they won it. It took them about 3 years, I think, to win the title. Chelsea, again, they had a bit of money before, I think 3 years before they won the title, 2 or 3 years. And the same with Manchester City. So they're not going to win the title straight away, Newcastle. And what I would say is, and Rishi Gagar says, amazing work from United Stand and AFT. Love from India. Thank you very much for that. What I would say is that, and we've got a very good question there. Charlie thinks that the Premier League's being ruined. Newcastle have got a big problem because Newcastle had what people don't probably realise about Newcastle is that they've had money before. I think it was it John Hall, Sir John Hall, or I forget. I know they've had previous owners in the past, but Newcastle did have money. Manchester United stopped Newcastle winning the title when they had money. We won the title in '96. I think that was the year that Newcastle were 12 points clear at one point, and Keegan had his meltdown. I will love it if we beat them and all that jazz. Well, he was spending millions, 15 million on Alan Shearer, Asprilla. They spent money on Les Ferdinand. They spent a lot of money. I mean, they bought that bloody Darren Peacock from QPR for a lot of money in those days. And look, it's hard to say, but 15 million for Shearer. However, over 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that's like 200 million now. So Newcastle have had money in the past and they didn't win a title. So for me, giving Newcastle a lot of money is very interesting, but it's what they do with that money. Like Manchester City messed about a bit with the money. They had the money. It took them a bit of time to get the right manager in place, and then they didn't stop winning titles and the infrastructure was built. Newcastle, if they're going to have a lot of money by the sounds of it, but they've got to build, the owners have got to know what they're doing and they've got to build the infrastructure. Now, the thing is, the blueprint there, quite literally the blueprint, is Manchester City, how they've done it. But Newcastle have also got another problem. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Newcastle, but there's not a lot going on up there. There's a big reason they've got a massive home support because there's not a lot else to do in Newcastle. It's a long way north of Manchester or Leeds or anywhere. It's out on its own, Newcastle. It's an isolated place. And for years, Newcastle could attract players because they had money and Kevin Keegan, and they were seen as this fashionable club in the 90s. But then everyone else started to get money, and suddenly Newcastle would try and buy an average player from France, but that average player from France would rather go to Fulham in London, not because Fulham were a bigger club, but because Fulham's in London. And when you're not playing football, you're living in London. And that is where Newcastle's problem's been over the years, is that, yeah, they're a big club, massive support. And they're not a sleeping giant, by the way. They're a sleeping hamster. They've got no real history. I had this argument before, and I'm not anti-Newcastle here because they're probably going to be a very big team in the future. I've lost my job, but not my life. Love from a Norway and a Liverpool fan says, we'll put it up on the screen there. Roy Bjorn Henriksen, thank you for your contribution there. And with the Saudis and corrupt money coming in, do you think the fear of financial fair play will be lost? Says Vinit Vidran. And Vin, well, that's an important thing I want to talk about as well. And Vin Brass says, Paul Robinson, greetings from the USA. I'm from Notts originally, and I live in Phoenix now. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. United for life. There you go. Financial fair play is a very interesting thing on Newcastle. But as I said, the first thing that Newcastle have got to do is bring players back to Newcastle, because there's not a lot going on. And I've got to be honest, if you are an Italian player or a Brazilian or whatever, you're either going to be tricked into going to Newcastle because they might not know what Newcastle is. They might think, oh, Newcastle's only 5 minutes down the road from London. It's not. It's bloody hours down the road from anywhere that's decent. So it doesn't matter if Newcastle have got the money to sign a Kylian Mbappe. It's whether Kylian Mbappe wants to go and spend 3 or 4 years living in Newcastle. And I'm not disrespecting Newcastle here. I'm just talking facts. Is Newcastle a great place to live if you're not from Newcastle? I've been there. I know a lot of people from there, and they say, Newcastle's great if you're a Geordie, but it's quite there's not a lot going on, and you do feel quite distanced from things. In fact, somebody said to me, it's a bit like living in Australia. It's a great place to live, but you do feel quite detached from everywhere else because you're so far away, and that's the way it is. Swian Oziano says, well done, Mark, with this fundraiser. I'm only 17 and want to start YouTube soon. What advice would you give to people like me with similar content to you? Similar content to me? You must be bloody brilliant then, mate. But all I would say is just, you've got to be yourself. Don't be similar to me. Don't be similar to Robbie. Don't be similar to DT. That's the biggest mistake people make. If I'd started this and I'd looked at True Geordie and said, I'm going to be True Geordie, one, I've got a crap Newcastle accent, but two, that's what he is. It's no point being similar to anybody, not in this world. What would the point be in EastEnders starting a new soap called West Enders, with posh people, but the same storylines as EastEnders? You've got to have something unique in this world if you're going to be different, obviously. So that's my biggest advice. Would you sell De Gea and give Henderson a chance as Chris Plowman? No, I wouldn't. We've got nearly 3,000 watching as well, so thanks everybody. But let's just wrap up this Newcastle storyline. So Newcastle potentially going to get owned by these Saudi Arabians who've got more money than anybody. But I'm not convinced they're going to have the success of a Manchester City, I've got to be honest. And I might be wrong, but what they need to do is they'll need to bring a top quality manager in. They'll need to bring the best coaches in, the best technical director in, and they're going to then have to attract numerous big players because they're going to have to build a whole team, Newcastle. Like, who in that Newcastle team is going to be in a Premier League Champions winning side? No one. They've got no one. No Newcastle player is good enough at this point to be in a top 4 side. They've got some half decent players. They have. I like that St. Maximin. I think he's very good. There's a couple of others as well. But they're going to have to rebuild that whole side, which takes a long time. You can't do FIFA. You can't just go and buy 12 players. They're not going to do that. So Newcastle could end up being a Premier League title winner, but I don't think they're going to manage it in the next 5 years. And they could be a top 4 club, but I don't think they'll do that for 2 or 3 years because they're not coming into a world that Blackburn came in. They're not coming into the world that Chelsea or Man City came in. They're coming into a world where Liverpool are very good and very well run, where Manchester City have still got their millions and are ridiculously well run, where United are still going to always be around there. So that's 3 spots. And then you've got Chelsea, who are still owned by a rich person and well run. And then there's Arsenal, Newcastle as well. So it would be hard for Newcastle. In many ways, I think I would rather a Newcastle got the billionaire owners than an Arsenal or a Liverpool, because Arsenal and Liverpool are already big clubs with big fan bases. Newcastle getting it, I think it'd be interesting to watch. They have got a massive fan base in Newcastle, and they've got no right to ever be a top 4 club other than cash injection. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But I'm telling you now, and I don't think many people will talk about this. I doubt you'll hear about it much on Talk Sport, Sky Sports, Match of the Day, because they don't want to offend. But I'm not offending. I think the biggest problem Newcastle have got, and if it was Fulham, I'd be like, well, they could do it because they live in London. The biggest problem Newcastle are going to get is getting the world's best players to go and live in Newcastle, which is quite an isolating experience, which is many previous Newcastle players who went there have said. Pochettino, Orba and Kane to Newcastle, says Ashley GR. Well, there you go. Pochettino. If they get Pochettino in, they've got a great manager. And then you could buy... But then, look, that's the point as well. Would Harry Kane go to Newcastle just for money? I don't think he would, because they're not going to win the title in the next 3 years, and that takes him up to 30. And same for Aubameyang. Is he just going to go to Newcastle for the money when he's not going to win anything before he retires? There will be players who do that. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Newcastle. Hard but easy because they've got the money, but hard. It's about who they appoint. Amazing work done for the NHS. Shout out to Jack Reynolds, who loves to watch the United stand, says Keenan Clark. Thank you very much for that, pal. What chances are there the Premier League will allow the sale to the Saudis, says David B. A massive chance, absolutely massive chance. And here's Zane with a big contribution as well. He says, Saudis should be buying us, not a small club like Newcastle. He's an Arsenal fan, you see. And they won't be able to understand the accents. We are the biggest club in London, and as we can jump in and get Sancho, Partey, Koulibaly, Arteta. Well, there is an element. There's not always an element of sense to what Zane says because he's very, very pro-Arsenal. But there is an element of sense to what he's saying there because if the Saudis bought Manchester United or Arsenal, you can go and get Mbappe tomorrow because you've got the money, you've got the club, and you've got the potential. If you buy Newcastle and you go to Kylian Mbappe, he's either going to be the world's biggest mercenary or he's going to go, hey, come on, I'm going to be one of the world's best players. Why am I going to go and live in Newcastle and just be a mercenary and we're not going to win anything for a few years? So it's going to be a very hard job. And I think who they get in as manager is going to be very important. Obviously, it can't be Steve Bruce. Josh Bowater says Saudis buy Newcastle and Ollie gets his dream of the Longstaff brothers running the Man United midfield. Yeah, we don't want those. We don't want those. Right. Let's have a quick look how we're doing on the old contributions. We are getting more and more people tuning in as well. We've got over 3,000 people watching, which is great. And choking on me porridge there. Massive good news as well. 14,000 done. Great. We're on that home straight. Final 1,000 now. Final push. Let's get to 15k, and then we can sort of not stop, but we've done what I set out to do. I want to hit that 75% ASAP. So we've gone to 14,050. Manu Stu, £10. Thank you very much. Chris Petrie as well. Jalen Trong has donated £10 as well, plus the gift aid. Warren says, I'm loving the work you guys continue to do. Excellent work for such a good cause. Thank you. Craig Manson, another tenner as well. We've got a few tenors coming in as well. Josh Frodsham with £5. Carl Hartson with 17 as well. And the gift aid. Anonymous 30 and Anonymous as well. Thanks everyone who is contributing through the link in the video description. And we've had Seb Johnson and Kingy who I've mentioned before as well. So thank you everybody who is doing that. A little bit, 14k is awesome. A lot of people in the live comments saying that. Please keep sharing the video and please keep contributing. The link is in the video description, and the United stand is going to bring this home till midday. So we're going to go into some topical transfer news and news at the moment. But for the Man United fans on the United stand, the news overnight that we can sort of talk about is that Jadon Sancho, Dortmund are considering offering him as big a wage packet as United are, quite simply because they've got money because they don't want to lose money. So if Jadon Sancho is worth 100 million, but United are only going to pay 70 because of the crash in the market, Dortmund are rumoured to be saying, well, you know what? He'll be worth 100 million pounds in the summer next year. So let's pay him big wages to keep him. And then it will work out cheaper anyway, because we won't lose him for cheaper this summer. So United, ultimately, as we know, if they're going to sign Sancho, they're going to have to pay a decent price and very good wages. Can club owners chuck in money like that, says Amarish Ranjan. Well, the final thing I wanted to talk about Newcastle was, and Prishesh Prasad says, Mark, I find it irritating clubs with no major history can just buy success. How weird would it be? Newcastle City, Liverpool fighting for the title. Their location can't be a problem, though. Their location, Newcastle, can be a problem. Financial fair play will be a problem to a certain extent for Newcastle, but how much of a problem, and maybe Alexis Sanchez could go to Newcastle, says a few people like DJ D Green and the Imposter. I would love that to happen. I would love Alexis Sanchez to go to Newcastle. It'd be a great signing. He should be your first signing, Newcastle. He'd be absolutely superb. But financial fair play is an issue, but it isn't an issue. I don't think Pep would go to Newcastle, Arkle. Arsenal are not better than Manchester United, Charlie Newman, and you haven't even said it in the right way. It's not Man U. And Harry Kane is 2 million, 100 million, says Marina Butterfield. Financial fair play should be a problem for Newcastle because their revenue stream shouldn't. I mean, basically, financial fair play, as I understand it, or when I used to look at it, is something like if your profits are 100 million pounds, you can't spend anything more than 100 million pounds because it's like that's not financial fair play. But Man City have found a way around it, haven't they? Basically, Man City went and got all these sponsor deals that no sponsor would ever pay for Man City, because Man City were getting kit deals and sponsorship deals as good as Man United. And people would say, well, why wouldn't they get that? Well, they wouldn't get that, because when a brand looks at Manchester United, they look at United fans, or Arsenal, they look at Arsenal fans and they go, they might not be doing great on the pitch, but they've got a huge fan base, and it's analytical. Like, if United have got 1 billion fans, Ed Woodward can say to Lego, look, we want so many million off you to sponsor us because your brand is going to get seen by 1 billion fans. Man City can't go to Lego and say, we want the same money as Man United are getting because you're going to put your brand in front of 1,000 fans. They haven't got as many fans. So Man City were getting these brand deals on a par with United and Liverpool and Arsenal, but they were wrong because they haven't got the fan base for it. But nobody really looked deep into it. And a lot of it was because Manchester City are owned by very, very, very good businessmen with lots of fingers in lots of pies. And some of the brand deals were allegedly from businesses that they owned, or had shares in, or knew people who knew them. So there's always a way around this. And then until something happens with Manchester City around this, which the Premier League are not doing anything about, it's the UEFA, isn't it, at the moment, then Newcastle can probably find a way around it as well, especially with the money that they've got. Money talks. So I can imagine Newcastle will be going out and spending a lot of money. Man U Stu with a super sticker, thank you very much. Nick Warren, free fitness classes for NHS workers after lockdown. Details on Nick Warren. Keep up the great work, Mark and the team. Thank you, Nick Warren. That's fantastic. And Newcastle is a strange one, says Ian. You would think that the Saudis would be more interested in a London club because of the aura of the city, but best of luck to Newcastle. They have a loyal fan base who deserve more. Well, there is, I mean, the reason Newcastle would be an interesting project is because they do actually have a large fan base and a very, very good ground. So this is why Man City were bought by Manchester City's current owners. Manchester City's owners didn't go, I'm forever blowing bubbles. That's the West Ham song. Blue Moon. They didn't. That's not their favourite song. They looked at Everton. They looked at Aston Villa, and they looked at Manchester City. They looked at Aston Villa because they're a big club in the Midlands, and they looked at Everton because, you know, they're a sleeping giant in Liverpool apparently, and they looked at Man City because, again, it's Manchester football connections. And the reason they went with Manchester City is because they got a free stadium from the Commonwealth Games with it. And that was why, if you took Everton, you needed to build a new stadium. If you took Aston Villa, you potentially needed to build a new stadium. But with Manchester City, you got a brand new stadium as well. So that was the only reason Manchester City's owners went for Manchester City. Not, just Man City won the lottery. And it might, with Newcastle, you can say, well, why aren't the Saudis looking at buying QPR or Everton? Well, you've got to build a new stadium with Everton. You've got to build a new stadium with QPR in London, which is very expensive. At Newcastle, you don't need to build a new stadium. You might build a new stadium as you get more successful, but they've already got a stadium that holds over 50,000 people. So Newcastle have got the infrastructure. The issue might be where it actually is. Something shared, then Arsenal owners are richer than Man United owners, but it doesn't translate into funding in the club, does it? Sartic do. Well, you know what? Arsenal owners are rich. There's a lot of rich owners out there, but they don't necessarily chuck it into football. That's what you want. That's what you want. Okay, let's have a look at some other news in football, because there is some, and I want to just go through some of it as well. Please keep sharing. Please keep donating. Links in the video description. We will get to that 15K. I'm sure we can if we give it a final push over the next couple of hours. Right, today's football gossip. Let's see what we've got. So Dortmund will give England winger Jadon Sancho a €4 million pay rise if he doesn't go to the Premier League. That's from Bild, which is a German outlet, and this is going back to, and you can read it in the Mirror as well, but it's via Germany. $3.5 million pay rise if he turns down a move to the Premier League. So what's $3.5 million over? It's not actually that much, $3.5 million. I mean, I wouldn't say no to a $3.5 million pay rise, but $3.5 million, it's not even 100 grand a week, because that's 35. There's 3,500,000 in 3.5 million, and there's 52 weeks. So he's probably looking at a pay rise of about 70, 80 grand a week, isn't he? Which probably takes him up to about 200. Well, United are going to offer 250. So it's not actually that much. It just sounds a lot. 3.5 million pay rise isn't actually that much. It's not even, it's about 80 grand a week. on top of what he's getting, which is probably on about 120. So I'd say that'd take him up to 200 grand a week. United will give him more than that. So, but I know why. As I said, we know why Dortmund are doing that, because they're thinking we may as well top his wages up and keep him, because his value is going to drop because of this financial crisis. But once the financial crisis is over in a year, we'll get top dollar for him. So it's worth paying him a little bit more now to have more in the future. Newcastle could make a bid for Barcelona and Chile midfielder Arturo Vidal. 32-year-old is said to be keen on the move if the Magpies replace current boss Steve Bruce with Max Allegri, and that's an option for Newcastle as well, isn't it? He's managed the black and white of Juventus. Will he end up managing the black and white of Newcastle? And I certainly think Newcastle, if this deal goes through, will be looking at Pochettino or Allegri. So that is interesting. Vidal, though, I mean, I don't think Vidal for Newcastle is a good signing, because he's better than what they've got. But at 32 in the Premier League, where you need tenacity, he's got knee problems and he's never played in the Premier League. So again, that to me is a bad signing for Newcastle. That's a waste of your money. That's a waste of your wealth. If I was the owner of Newcastle and I was being presented with Arturo Vidal, and because I know football, like many of you, I would say, no, that's not what I want. What's the point in getting me? It's just a big name. It's not a player that's going to make us close the gap on people. PSG are preparing a £640,000 a week contract to convince Brazilian forward Neymar to snub Barcelona return. I mean, this is in the Daily Star. Neymar, who's going to buy Neymar? I mean, he's in a golden cage. He's a bit like Pogba and Harry Kane. Who's going to buy these players when there's no real money to go and buy them in the first place? So I think that story probably belongs in the Daily Star. Newcastle are getting a new owner, says Hamzas. Yeah, we've been talking about that for the last 20 minutes, but welcome to the show. Man City's Brazilian midfielder, Fernandinho, 34, has refused to rule out a move to the MLS. I mean, you know what? It's a good thing as a non-United fan, but Fernandinho, I didn't realise was so old. I think he's a fantastic player, and I didn't realise that he'd come to Man City at, when did he come to Man City? Has he been there like 4 or 5 years now? Maybe a little less. So he came quite old. I always thought Fernandinho was about 27. So that is going to be a key player for Man City to replace, considering as well, he's played most of the season as a centre-back, and I think he's arguably the best centre defensive midfielder in the league. But he may well be on the move at 34. Kylian Mbappe, we'll see his value drop. This is interesting. This is from AS, who are a Spanish paper, who do a lot around the Madrid clubs. And they're saying that French striker Kylian Mbappe will see his value drop to 35 to 40 million euros after the coronavirus pandemic. And they're not saying that it will drop by 35 to 40 million euros. They're saying it will drop to 35 to 40 million euros, which is very precise, considering 40 million euros is about 30 million pounds. So Kylian Mbappe, who is probably worth 200 million pounds, is going to see his value drop to 30 million pounds. I mean, that's like a 70% drop in value. That's bollocks. That's just not true. That's a waste of paper and a waste of ink and a waste of eyes to read it. There is no way that Kylian Mbappe, and this is where people are getting lost by this. Have no doubts that transfer values are going to drop, and it's going to be a very weird market. But it's not going to be a new rule issued by UEFA. Kylian Mbappe, you're now worth 50 million pounds instead of 200. The transfer market's like anything. It's like a few weeks ago when there was no pasta in the shops. If you had a bag of pasta outside and Asda's ran out of it, and you bought that bag of pasta for 50p, I guarantee you could probably sell it for a £5 to somebody. You just have a sign saying, "I'm going to sell this. What's the best price?" It doesn't matter how bad the market is, that there were certain things that people will have to still pay a decent price for. So Kylian Mbappe is not going to go for a ridiculously cheap price when he's one of the best players in the world. Not at all. Arsenal and Everton are interested in signing Celtic's French striker Hudson Edouard. He's 22. That's coming from French outlets. I do think that this player is quite interesting at Celtic. And Manu Stu says, what United Stand and AFTV have done over the last 24 hours is nothing but amazing. Helping our heroes, the NHS. Keep up the great work. Thanks for your contribution, pal. Remember to do your contributions through Just Giving if you can, because then we know the actual tot up. And Cavalier Crane Masters says, what do you think of Norwich's potential out transfers if they possibly get relegated? I think Norwich are well run and can get back straight away to the Premier League. Well, I think you're going to lose Max Aarons and Cantwell. I mean, the only thing that might make them stay is the fact that they're young. Pookie will probably go as well. So I think you'd probably lose 3 or 4 players if you go down. But going back to the story from Celtic, Edouard, let me just grab something as well. Can I reach? I'm still here, don't worry. I don't know why. I don't even need an earpiece in. I've got no guests at the moment. Talking about Edouard, he would be an interesting player, and I think he would probably suit a move to an Everton or an Arsenal, because that's the sort of logical next step. So it'd be interesting to see whether he does leave Celtic and what price he leaves for, because he'll certainly want to go up a level. So keep an eye out on him, Edouard, if that's how you pronounce it, from Celtic. Bendia probably leave Norwich as well. Good point, Fanta Sprite. Bruno at 48 million was an absolute steal. I always thought he was worth at least 60, says Carito Janga. I mean, he was a steal in January, but would you get him for cheaper now in the summer? Look, the reality is Bruno Fernandes was just a brilliant signing. You pay what you pay for him. That's what I would say. I think he's just a brilliant signing. And I find it a little bit unfortunate that what I have been seeing over the last few days is Pogba FC slating Bruno, getting out comparisons that, oh, look at Pogba, he's better than Bruno. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, Pogba's been sat injured for a year. He's also said he wants to leave for a year. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who's come into the club, been a breath of fresh air. He's telling people what to do. He's telling everybody what he wants to win. He's saying we need these sort of players to come in and have the same mentality. And there are still United fans sat there going, oh, he's crap. Pogba's better than him. I'm just like, on what planet would you ever say that if you're a proper United fan? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I like Paul Pogba. I really do. But Pogba wants to leave. He may well sign a new contract. I think he will. But that's only because of the circumstances the world's in. If we hadn't have had this lockdown, he was forcing a move this summer. So I said it before and I'll say it again. I like Pogba. But if you're asking me, you've got to get rid of one, Pogba or Bruno. I'm sorry. Bye, Paul. Off you go. You're the better talent, but you've had 3 years to do it. You've got an absolute cretin as an agent. I can't be doing with your noise. Off you go. And I don't mean his music. I mean the constant Rayola rumours and bollocks. Just give me someone like Bruno, who actually is a very good talent and he's a very simple player to manage. He wants to play football. He wants to do well wherever he is. And in 3 years, maybe he'll say, I want to go to Real Madrid. But I don't think he's going to do it in a disrespectful way. So I think Bruno's great. And I think the great thing about this is I think if you spoke to most people who aren't United fans, they would make the same decision, because Paul Pogba is a brilliant talent, but he brings a lot of baggage with that bloke who's his agent, unfortunately. And he's been inconsistent. But I don't like it. I don't like the whole Pogba-Bruno thing. I think it's ridiculous. And I think it's ridiculous that a new player who's done fantastically well is getting abuse from Pogba FC, who hasn't done anything for a year. So, I don't know why we're doing that. Let's get Pogba back on the field. And the ironic thing will be that Bruno will make Pogba better because he'll have a better player with him in the midfield. Let's just enjoy both. Exactly. So yeah, that's my thought process on that. But I'm enjoying this show. I've got loads to get through as well. I'll tell you what, let's have a little stop. Who won the quiz? Says Yash YP. Who do you think won the quiz? To be fair, DT did get he got 52. Me and Rance got 48, and then Claude had 37. So United stand won because our two scores, 96, were better than 89. But DT was lucky anyway. He bloody admitted that he was basically when he was stuck on a question, he was waiting for the live comments. Then he went with the most obvious answer. So I think next time there needs to be a time limit on getting your question in. Is there even a slight chance of signing Werner? Says Amwaj. Well, this is a good story because this is a story I saw this morning, and it's coming from General Anzeiger in German, which is a German outlet. And they're saying Liverpool have not contacted RB Leipzig over a move for Germany's 24-year-old striker, Timo Werner. Now, I think that Timo Werner is going to go to Liverpool, but I'm not going to be somebody who is, what's the word? I'm not going to be, oh, I don't like Werner, he's crap. I think Werner's a fantastic player, and I think he will end up at Liverpool. But anything's possible with United. And what I would say about Timo Werner is this. It's always interesting when a player or an agent or a club talks. It's great getting the stories from the news outlets, but where are they getting their story from? That's my thing. You know, I always like stuff when you get it from somebody that is credible, or you get it from the player, the club, or the agent. And Timo Werner a few weeks ago said, I've got options. And what options interest me at the moment the most are staying at Leipzig and building something, or another interesting option is going to a club that's a big club, that's building a project, that's not doing so well at the moment, that you can go in and be part of that project and make them great. Or you can go to a club that's already great. And basically and he used United as the example. So he's got RB Leipzig, who he can stay at, who he's happy with, and try and build them into a Bundesliga winner or a Champions League winner, which is probably unlikely, but he could do that. He could go to Liverpool or a Man City or whoever who are already winning things and go to a team that's already winning things. Or you can go to a United, who are a massive club, who aren't winning things, but have the potential to win things. And you could be a player that goes in there and does that. And I tell you what, if you've ever played Football Manager or FIFA or anything like that, have you ever played it and you go, I could be Man United with all the money, and we all are United because it's our club, but take United out, take your club that you support out of the way. Are you going to be Man City, where you've got all the money and all the players, and really the expectation is to win the league? Or are you going to be Everton and try and build something to be it? Or an Arsenal, because they don't win anything anymore, a big club, and try and make them a Premier League winner? There's far more enjoyment and credibility from making Arsenal a Premier League winner on FIFA or Football Manager than there is than Man City. But some players will go to Man City and some players will go to Arsenal. And I think what Timo Werner was saying is that, yeah, I can go to Liverpool. Of course I can. But I could go to United. And that'll be interesting with Werner. And that's from his mouth. So it could happen. It could happen. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with him. I want to play a little bit of a game here with you lot, because I played it yesterday with a couple of other people. We did Spurs and we did Liverpool and we did Man City. So I want to do Arsenal, because we're doing Arsenal Fan TV and United. So I want to ask you in the live comments, depending on which club you support, you might be an Arsenal fan or a United fan, what two players, so if you're a United fan, what two players would you take from Arsenal and put in a United team? And you've got to put them in the United team. So you've got to take a player out for United and bring a player in from Arsenal. It's not like, oh, I'll take him and he can go on the bench. Two players from Arsenal have got to go in to a United starting 11. So get in the live comments. And likewise, if you're an Arsenal fan, two United, I mean, to be honest, it's going to be easy for you as an Arsenal fan because there's loads of our players you'd put in your first team. But two United players you would put in an Arsenal starting lineup and who you would kick out. So I think for me, Arsenal is interesting. I mean, Aubameyang does come to mind, but I'm actually going to be quite controversial here. And it might surprise a few people, but the first player I would take is Nicolas Pepe. I think Pepe is a player that will become good. I'm surprised how inconsistent he's been, but I think he will become good. And also, let's not forget, Pepe has had a similar thing to Fred in his first year, where you come into a club for a decent amount of money, you're expected to be a decent player, but you come into a turbulent situation. Like Pret a Manger. Fred came in under Jose, who was gone by Christmas. And then a new manager came in and, he had a bad first season, Fred did. Pepe came in under Emery. He's gone by Christmas, and now Arteta's coming in, and it's instability. And I think Pepe might be a good player next year. But also, Manchester United need a right winger. So I would go with Pepe. We've had an Arsenal fan saying going Bruno and Martial, which would be good. Max Hughes says Martinelli and Pepe. Yeah, Pepe for Lingard works as Ibrahim. No, we're not swapping anyone. We're just taking two players. Bruno and Maguire, says Olaf. Torreira and Tierney, says Levi. And Tierney and Orba, says United, Tarantino. Well, that's interesting. And Aubameyang for Martial and Pepe for the fella on the right wing, says Carl Mendes. And Martinelli. Chelsea fan says I'd take Sacco and Leno. And I can understand why you do that as well. I agree with you as a Chelsea fan on that, actually. Pepe and Saka. Aubameyang and Saka, says Melly. And I would rather have bought Pepe than Maguire, says Kerper. So, yeah, I've took Pepe. And my second one I would take, and I think United do need a centre defensive midfielder. So I'm intrigued by Torreira, but I don't think Torreira has gone and had the season I would have thought he would. So I think, and I used to quite like Guendouzi, but I've gone off him a bit this season. I wouldn't take Saka. I think he's a very good player, but I'm happy with what we've got at left back. United's big problem is a striker, and I would bring in Aubameyang, and I would no, but then I've got to take somebody out of my starting 11, haven't I? So I wouldn't take Aubameyang in for Martial or Rashford. I wouldn't do that. So I need a midfielder really, or a centre back. Well, there's no point looking at a centre back. I don't need a goalkeeper. So I don't know. I think I would probably go with Torreira. I think, to be honest. Oi! Sorry, it's Sunday morning and people are not used to me filming a live stream, so sorry about that. Torreira and Aubameyang. Now, definitely Pepe, and I think I probably would take Torreira. I mean, Aubameyang's the obvious one, but I don't want to drop Martial or Rashford. Vandy Candy says you could put Rashford on the left. You could put him on the left. Actually, no, logically, I think it's got to be Pepe and Aubameyang, and I would get rid of. I'd put Rashford on the bench for Aubameyang and put Aubameyang on the left, just for the goals. But that's hard to say. Hard to say. What about Lacazette? Says Mr. Banter. Well, your name says it. I don't want the French Charlie Austin. I don't need him. And remember, this is a first team player. He's never going to be a first team player. Okay, so Arsenal have made contact with Reims over a move for French centre-back Axel Disasi. That's from Goal. Don't know anything about him. Liverpool have registered their interest in Inter Milan and Croatia midfielder Brozovic. I do know about him. That's coming from Libero. I'd be surprised if Liverpool were looking at Brozovic, to be honest with you. I mean, he's decent. He's a good player. You know, I've been in link with him in the past, but I'd be very surprised if they're looking at him. And the Reds also face an unpaid £35 million bill from Barcelona as part of the transfer deal involving the 27-year-old Brazilian midfielder Philippe Coutinho. Well, a lot of these transfers are paid over a period of time, aren't they? I mean, look, Barcelona must be absolutely furious about still having to pay money for a player that's flopped. Imagine that. You spend 135 million on Coutinho and you're paying it back over a number of years. And within no time, you realise he's a flop, but you've still got to pay £35 million to Liverpool. And I think also, as part of that deal for Coutinho, Barcelona weren't allowed to buy any Liverpool players for a number of years as well. I mean, Liverpool did great business out of Coutinho. And look, Coutinho at Liverpool was a good player. I've got to say, Coutinho at Liverpool was very, very good. But at Barcelona, he's been awful. And I still think Coutinho's young enough. And Barcelona, Goal is saying that Barcelona want to sell Coutinho, who is currently on loan at Bayern Munich, and hope a Premier League buyer can be found for him. I don't think they'll get a buyer for Coutinho. I think Coutinho is fast track going down the road of James Rodriguez, where no one wants to buy him, but people will risk a loan. I mean, in fact, DT said yesterday he'd like Coutinho on loan at Arsenal, and maybe there is a loan deal that could be done there. But I don't think. See, this is the modern football world, isn't it? This is the modern transfer market. United are in this problem all the time. We pay ridiculous money to people like Jesse Lingard, Phil Jones, Pereira, Juan Mata. We pay ridiculous money to these people, Marcus Rojo, so that when they should be sold to an Everton or a Bournemouth, they can't afford those wages. So we're stuck with those players. And it works the other way as well with transfer fees. When Barcelona have paid 135 million for Coutinho and he flops and you want to sell him, and then any other club, because they've got common sense, say, well, we're not giving you anything more than 30. And they go, well, we can't take 30. We bought him for 135 a couple of years ago. Well, yeah, we're not giving you anything more than 30. So no one will buy Coutinho. Barcelona don't want Coutinho. So he ends up just going around Europe on loan. But I still think he could do a decent job. But even if Arsenal had Coutinho on loan and he scored 10 goals and did quite well, Arsenal aren't going to find the money to buy him anyway. So that's a problem for Barcelona, but it's a problem that many clubs face when they spend ridiculous money on people and wages. Liverpool are willing to lower their asking price for Switzerland swinger Shaqiri because of the pandemic. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are looking to do that at the moment in relation to lowering prices. But as I said before, it's all going to come down to the value of the market. So Manu Stu's contributed another £100. He says the NHS are worth every penny, so are the United Stand and AFTV. Fantastic jobs. Thank you, Manu Stu. Absolutely humbled by some of the contributions that people have made today. Supreet Vivankanda says, sending love from Australia. Hats off to you, everyone at the United Stand and AFTV. Wonderful cause. Please take my money. We've had a new member of the United Stand Members Club as well, Steve Church. Thank you. Welcome to the club. On that point, I will just say, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. That costs nothing. Bottom right-hand corner, it's free to subscribe. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got, we'll have Ricky and Saeed on tonight for the Sunday night live show at 8 o'clock. Live every night at 8 o'clock. We have a Man United news and transfer news every morning, which is what I'm doing now, obviously. And we normally try and do a few interviews and stuff with people as well, which we've got an Andy Cole one to go up as well this week. So lots and lots to get involved with on the channel. Please subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, it's free. But more importantly, what's the scores on the Doors? George Dawes, who was actually on AFTV last night with Robbie, Matt Lucas. And we're on £14,358. So we're ticking over. This is good. I want us to get to 15K ASAP. We're on £14,358. Please do keep sharing the video as well. There's a share button underneath. The more people watch, the more people will contribute, hopefully. We've had 931 contributions on Just Giving. We've had Anonymous. We've had Tony, who's contributed 20 quid. More power to the NHS, he says. And he's absolutely loving the 24 hours streams. Anonymous, well done, everyone working in the NHS. You're inspiration to this great country we live in. Yenchko, $15. Just a man in Arizona with family in the UK. My mother grew up there. Big up to the United Stand and AFTV for the 24-hour stream, and big up to the NHS. I'm so humbled as well by the amount of people who've contributed to this cause, which is the National Health Service of the UK. And a lot of people have done it basically because of the United Stand and AFTV and you, and because they're part of a community and they want to contribute, but also because people in their country aren't doing anything about it, but they want to say thank you. And the only way they can do that is through what we're doing for us. But rest assured, everything that you contribute is going to make a big difference to our NHS, who are doing fantastic work, saving lives, putting their lives at risk. Unfortunately, not saving lives, but actually, you know, it's not the sentence we want to use. We want to say they're saving lives and they're putting their lives at risk, but they're also dying. People are dying, and these people are there giving them care and comfort and the best they can support in what will be their last few hours, days and minutes on this planet. So this is why it's very important that we contribute and that we do this. And there's a serious element to it, and we all know what's going on. Most of us are in lockdown. Jack Power, thank you, lads. In times like these, it's so nice to see people coming together and helping our amazing NHS. And thank you to Jack, who's contributed £30. He also did the gift aid as well, which is good if you tick that. Could you say something for HSC in Ireland as well? I have an aunt, and she is a nurse, and she's doing a fantastic job. Well done to all involved in this stream. The quiz was great last night, says Josh Meany. Look, as far as I'm concerned, we did the NHS because it's UK, and we wanted to keep the money in something that we know, which is UK. There's the other option was the World Health Organization, and to be honest with you, I don't think we would have raised anywhere near as much for the World Health Organization, because there's a lot of controversy about the World Health Organization at the moment, which is sad, because the World Health Organization would have been a very good cause to do it for, because everybody's involved in that. But the World Health Organization, as Donald Trump is apparently going to withdraw their funding, there's big questions to be asked with the World Health Organization. What went on in China? You know, were they innocent? Was it covered up? How is it that they have got far less deaths and far less cases, but they were the first person to get it? You know, Italy, we knew about it. UK, we knew about it. America knew about it. Spain knew about it. And yet we've got way more death, way more infection, way more widespread, and we knew it was coming. And yet the country that didn't know it was coming, they locked it all down. I personally just think there's far more to this, and that makes doing something for the World Health Organization at this point somewhat dangerous until you know what the full story is. And I hope that it all comes out and everybody's innocent in it. But the National Health Service, they are dealing with this crisis, and it doesn't matter whether you're in Ireland, France, India, wherever. Health workers are the heroes without capes at the moment, and they are the people that are most important. Thank you to Scott Hibbert, £20. Ellis Dawes, well done to everyone involved. This stream will save lives and hopefully get football back sooner. Well, we'll all get football back sooner by staying in and staying safe. That's what we need to do. Joe Mulholland, keep up the great work, and all those involved from United Stand and AFTV. And Scott Mack, £20 plus £5 in gift day, says, hi, Glasgow Rangers fan here. Love the work all you guys are doing. I've become hooked on the Goldbridge career mode. Love to the NHS. And Stephen Hoang and Dean Hadley and Bavash Vashani as well. Thanks for your contributions. Let's see if we've got anybody else that we haven't shouted out. Liam Grogan, Andy Ball, Walter Ortiz, Anonymous 15 quid. And I think that's up to date. Thank you, Walter, for 20 quid and £5 gift aid as well. Really appreciate all those contributions that we've got coming in. I want to ask you in a minute as well in the live comments, who is the most underrated player in the Premier League at the moment? Not of all time, who is the most underrated player in the Premier League at the moment? The link's in the video description for people to keep contributing. Please keep doing it and keep sharing the video as well. My career mode has been an oasis in this lockdown. I started it the first day of lockdown. I think we're on episode 33. We're on season 3. First season, I won the Europa League and got 4th spot. Second season, we won the FA Cup and were robbed in the Champions League by Bayern Munich. And we were in a title race right the way until about 3 games out. And then we lost to Leicester and then it was gone. So this season, we're at the start of season 3. But the great thing I like about my FIFA career mode, and the reason I'm talking about FIFA is because it's also relevant to Manchester United, Arsenal, whoever, is that when you play FIFA or Football Manager, by season 3, your team's unrecognized. It's a bit like Newcastle if they get their money. By season 3, there'll be nobody left from season 1 because they'll just clear house. In my FIFA career mode on season 3, even though I've got money to spend, I've still got De Gea in goal. Still got Wan-Bissaka, I've still got Lindelof, I've still got Pogba and Bruno, and I've still got Rashford and Martial. So, and Dan James comes on a lot. But 7 of my starting 11 I had at the start of season 1, which just makes it more realistic. So I've really enjoyed it. So you can check that out on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. A lot of people have got hooked on it who don't even like FIFA. And I must admit, I used to quite like FIFA, but in the lockdown, I've got so much more involved in it because there is no football. So playing this is like my daily, I don't know what's going to happen. It's like, oh my God, it's a goal. So it's good. Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. Check it out. And I will be live on there this afternoon at about 2:30 with episode 33. I can't say it louder. Jesse Lingard. Underrated D1 Soccer King. Kovacic is a good shout, Vedant. He's a very good shout. Fred is coming up. And Diddy. Says Taylor Sinner. I like this. Underrated. The most underrated player in the Premier League. Ricardo Pereira. Sarr. I don't know. I wouldn't say Sarr's underrated. It's only his first season, Callum Lee. I mean, I think when you play for a club like Watford, that does somewhat make you a little bit underrated. I get. I haven't sold De Gea, Ali McGregor. And I thought about it. I thought about selling Pogba, but I haven't sold them. But the name that really keeps coming up, let me just have a look on this page as well. The name that really keeps coming up is Kovacic and Diddy and Wan-Bissaka's coming up a lot as well. And Fred's coming up as well. Mahrez, good one. I'm glad Jordan Henderson hadn't come up a lot, but Mini Kings just said Jordan Henderson. Bendia, interesting. I tell you what, no, not nothing is right, and a few people have said it. Mahrez is a very good shout as the most underrated player. When he played against United, he was their best player, and I've seen Mahrez this season. I think has been one of Man City's best players. The thing is, Man City haven't had a good season. Wijnaldum's a good shout. Mark McKenna, I mean, he is. Wijnaldum is basically Liverpool's Ander Herrera, who nobody really realises how good they are for them. Martial's had an underrated season. Gabriel Parker and Anoop James, definitely. But we're talking Premier League's most underrated. I mean, it's Tammy says burnt Leno. And look, I know Arsenal fans love Leno and you watch him every week. And, you know, he's obviously a good player because Arsenal fans do go on about him a lot. But every time I watch Leno, he makes a massive mistake. So I can't agree with you on that. But a lot of Arsenal fans say Leno's fantastic. I'd say that Ricardo Pereira is probably going to be my winner. I do agree with Kovacic, and I do agree with Ndidi, and I do agree with Fred, and I do agree with Wijnaldum. But the one that I like, because underrated, also, I think fullbacks do get underrated a lot. I think I'm going to give it to Ricardo Pereira. So everyone who said Pereira, well done. I'm going to give it to Ricardo Pereira. I didn't think I was going to give it to Ricardo Pereira, but I've seen the name a lot there. You think about Leicester's season. Everyone always says, who's the best right back in the league, Wan-Bissaka or Trent Alexander-Arnold? Well, you're a fool if you don't put Ricardo Pereira in there, but you're not a fool. He's just underrated. So Ricardo Pereira has been fantastic for Leicester since he signed, and he's had a fantastic season as well. So I'm going to give it Ricardo Pereira. I think fair play, most underrated player. Let's write that down because there's probably going to be a tweet about that, which will cause a lot of controversy. So Ricardo Pereira will definitely go with that. You know what I'm going to do next? I may as well do it while we're feeling while we're stuck on that mindset. And Ricardo Fidalgo says Ricardo Pereira is a great shout. I think everyone who did say that, well done. Most overrated player in the Premier League, go for it. In current day, not ever, because I think Frank Lampard should be up there as overrated. But no, I'm joking. Most overrated player in the Premier League. So the player that everybody hears about or knows about, but you think he's overrated. A few players that come to my mind. Look, Jesse Lingard's not overrated. United fans don't think he's that good, and non-United fans don't think he's that good. So Jesse Lingard is not overrated. I wouldn't even say Ozil's overrated. I think Mo Salah could be a candidate, even though I wouldn't say he is. I think he's a good player. But he's a good one, Salah, because people just say, oh, he's world-class, and some people think, oh, he's not that good. Ozil, again, he's a bit like Lingard. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's just not very good. Harry Kane or Mane, says Liam R Gaming. Pogba's an interesting one as a United fan. Is he overrated? I mean, look, how can he be overrated when Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Graham Souness, TalkSport, Sky, they're constantly having a pop at him. So I don't think Pogba's overrated. I think Pogba is a different word. Pogba is what's Pogba? He's not underappreciated. He's not overrated. He's potentially one of the world's best midfielders. I think that's not a one-word answer, but he's potentially one of the world's best midfielders. That's what he is. He just isn't. Overrated, Henderson's getting a lot at the moment. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Hudson-Odoi. I haven't seen enough of Hudson-Odoi to know whether he is overrated, but apparently a lot of people think he's overrated. Dele Alli, I don't think he's overrated. I just think he's crap. I think a lot of people know he's crap. Sionku is the most underrated player, says Callum. So we're overrated at the moment. Sterling this season is overrated, but last season he was quite rightly the best player in the league, I think. Firmino's overrated. I think that's a good one. I don't rate Firmino, but I think he's in a team that's won the Champions League, is going to win the league, so he's got to be doing something right. But I think Martial would do a better job. I think Aubameyang would do a better job. Lacazette's overrated, says Josh Rawlings. Yeah, I agree. Firmino, there's a few going in for him. Adama Traore is interesting. Is he overrated? 50% of United players are overrated. You've got to name them, Rebuild FC. Mason Mount's overrated. You know what? I'd sort of agree with that. I think that's a good shout as well from Sports Trio. I think Mason Mount is overrated. I think he can be a very good player, but I don't think he should not be getting in England squads over Grealish and Maddison. I think that is overrated. He's not better than those two players. So I do agree that Mason Mount is a bit overrated, but I'm almost reluctant to say he's the most overrated because that makes him sound like he's crap when he isn't. But I do think there is this, he gets a lot of hype around him when he's far from the finished article. Pogba is overslated. Yes, that's a good one. And that was English fans overrate Harry Kane a lot, says Don't Know Drew. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin says Krita Jang. I think he does a good job at the level that he's at. I don't think he's overrated. David Silva, says Dylan Graham. I mean, David Silva is not overrated. He's a fantastic player. I mean, he's coming towards the end now, but he's coming. He was a fantastic player in his time. Ben Chilwell, says Abdulak to second. This is going to be a different one. Declan Rice, I agree with that one. I think Declan Rice is well overrated. I really do not get what he's all about at all. Zed Jamie said that as well. And again, I think like Mason Mount, he can be a good player of the future. But this is a problem that we have in this country. We overrate young players and try and make out that they're amazing when really, what's Declan Rice done? He's not really done anything in an England shirt, and he's been okay in a West Ham shirt. If his name was, if he was 27 and he'd come from Charlton at 24, he'd just be a normal Premier League midfielder. But because he's young, and he chose England over Ireland, he's considered to be this big name, and I just think he's overrated, a bit like Mason Mount. Joe Gomez overrated, says Jamie. I actually think Joe Gomez is all right, and I don't think he gets hyped up that much. Luke Shaw, says Mod. Well, I think Luke Shaw's was voted Man United Player of the Year by the fans last year, and he's been brilliant since Christmas. So I don't think he's overrated. I think he's underrated, to be honest, by some United fans. Pookie, says Stampy Head. Well, Pookie is overrated, actually. He's just a Poundland Harry Kane. He had a good start to the season. Everyone put him in their fantasy Premier League side, and he's not done a lot since. I mean, I know he's been injured. Sean Longstaff's definitely overrated. Definitely. Pickford, overrated. I don't know. I think most people realise he's crap. McTominay, says Paul Robinson. I think it's hard to pick a Manchester United player that's overrated, Paul, because I think United fans over the last few years have been very, very acutely aware. I think Arsenal fans are probably the same, and Chelsea fans. We've not been doing as well as we should be doing. So we've become very, very good at looking at our players and saying they're good enough, they're not good enough. I think if you had to pick a United player that's overrated, and it's not any disrespect to McTominay at all, I think I would say the most overrated player at United is Scott McTominay. Not because he is shit. It's the same as Mason Mount. I just think he probably gets overrated to the player that he is. And I think McTominay can go on and be brilliant, but I don't think he's there yet. And the same with Mason Mount. I think he can go on and be brilliant, but he gets overrated to what he actually is at the moment. So I would agree, if you had to pick a United player that's overrated, I would say McTominay, if I had to. But he's still a good player and he's still on the trajectory. But I do think the whole McMayo, McSauce thing, he gets treated like he's established and he's brilliant. And I don't actually think he is established in a first teamer yet. I think at the moment, Matic and Fred are ahead of him. So, yeah, but I think United fans are very good at, knowing who the good players are and who the bad players are. And McTominay's one of the good players, but an overrated player has to be one of the good players. So, yeah, I'd have to go with that. But I wouldn't say he's anywhere near one of the most overrated in the league. Somebody just said David Beckham, block them forever. He was not overrated. He was actually probably a bit underrated because of his persona off the pitch. People just thought he was, that's why he was popular, but he was actually a very, very good footballer as well. Who are we going to go as the most overrated player? Ricardo, overrated player. Underrated player was Ricardo Pereira, which I thought was a really intelligent choice. Most overrated player in the Premier League at the moment, I'm going to go with Declan Rice. Yeah, I'm going to go Declan Rice. I really don't get it. I would be really concerned if United bought Declan Rice. And I'm sorry if Declan Rice sees this. It's nothing personal. I just think you need to show everybody what this hype is all about, because every time I've watched you, I just think you're an okay Premier League midfielder who, because you're English and young, is now, he's amazing. He's worth 70 million. He's going to be one of the best CDMs in the world. And maybe he will become that. But from what I've seen, and I know Roy Keane said it as well, but from what I've seen, I don't think that he's that good. And Mason Mount's probably a good shout as well. Firmino was a good shout, but I'm going to go Mason Mount. Is Laporte overrated, Dom? I think he's just injury prone, but I think he's a very good player. And I don't think Nicolas Otamendi is overrated. I think he's crap. So, yeah. I think Billy Gilmore looks very good, but yeah, don't overhype him too soon, because this is what we do. I think Rice and Mount is a victim, really, of what you get in this country where people overrate people. We've got nearly 4,000 people watching, which is fantastic for this 24-hour charity stream. We're on the home straight. We've got the baton. We've got an hour and a half to go, and we are very, very close to 15,000. So please keep sharing the video and please keep contributing. The link is in the video description. If we can get 15K, we've smashed it again. We've took the baton on and absolutely smashed it. So please keep contributing. Lots and lots for us to discuss. But just as a recap, what we've been doing in the first hour and a half, we've been there's a story coming out from Germany that Borussia Dortmund are going to offer a wage increase to Jadon Sancho to try and stave off interest from the Premier League and make Sancho stay if he wants to stay. They can't make him stay if he doesn't want to. Why would Dortmund suddenly give a big pay rise to Sancho? For the very simple reason that if they can't get the 100 million they want and he forces a move for 70, they've lost 30 million. If they keep him for a year, the crisis will be gone. They'll be able to get 100 and something million plus. So that 30 million they're going to lose, they're thinking, well, let's use some of that 30 million for wages. In fact, they're only going to use about 5 million of it. So think about it from a business point of view. Sancho's worth 100 million, but the financial crisis forces his price down to 70. So you've lost 30. Why not use some of that 30 you're going to lose to boost his wages for a year, so that his price in a year is 100 and you've only spent 5 million on extra wages? You're still going to make about 25 million more than you would have done if you sold him for 70. So that's what they're looking to do with Sancho. There's talk that United will avoid getting a centre back and they'll stick with Eric Bailly. Koulibaly's been mentioned, of course. Would you rather go for Koulibaly, who's 29 this summer, or would you stick with Eric Bailly at 26, who's injury prone? As I said, I think Eric Bailly, if he stays fit, is probably our best centre back. His aerial stats are as good as Maguire, and he's quicker and he's better on the ball. But can he stay fit? I still don't think he can. And also, as we were talking about yesterday, you might have missed it, Jude Bellingham, Manchester United, James Cooper, Sky Sports, saying that the plan with Jude Bellingham, if they can get him, is to get him involved in the first team and not loan him out. Personally, I'd just be very happy to get him, but I wouldn't be opposed to loaning him out. I don't want to see Manchester United, and I think it's the same for a lot of Premier League clubs now, whether it's Arsenal with Saka and Martinelli, Chelsea with their youth players, Man City don't do this. I wouldn't like to see United sign Jude Bellingham, who's played over 30 games in the Championship at 16, come into United and spend a year training with the first team. If he's played 30 games in the Championship, he needs to play 30 games next season in the Championship or in the Premier League. Being with Man United and training with Pogba and Bruno is not development. He needs to play first team football. So I think if you get Jude Bellingham, loan him out somewhere straight away, because unless we're going to start him, then we're not going to start him, are we? Matthew Compton's made a contribution. He says, for the heroes without capes, NHS. Also, Mark, I'm annoyed that, for example, Arsenal have managed to get the draw of young players like Tierney and Saliba. Our scouting is crap, and only with Solskjaer it looks to improve. We have acquired a lot of good young players over the years, to be fair. And thank you to CXMC CLX RKE, who says Harry Kane's the most overrated. Love what you're doing, by the way. Yeah, and please do make your contributions through the Just Giving link, which is in the video description if you can, because that will show us a live update of what we're doing in relation to Super Chats. And we nearly got 4,000 people watching as well. So if you have contributed or you can't contribute, please do share the video as well, because the more people we get involved, the better and the quicker we'll get where we need to get with our totals. But yeah, Man United have acquired a lot of good young talent over the years. 15, 16, 14-year-olds. What we need to see now is some of these players coming through. And, Mason Greenwood was not a player that we acquired. He's been through the youth setup. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm going to do another controversial signing in a minute, but let's have a look at some of the comments. Alex Marmon says, having the best defender in Bailly alongside a better passer like Maguire or Lindelof seems to be a great centre-back combination. I agree. I like Lindelof and I like Maguire, but it lacks that recovery pace. And I think United do need an Eric Bailly or a Twansebi next to Maguire, really. I think that works a lot better for us in the longer term. But I don't think United are far away. As I said, I don't think United are far away. I think the same old questions remain with United. Is the coaching good enough? Because I think we'll want to, if we get Sancho in, and that's a big if, you get Sancho in, you add him into Bruno and Pogba stays and that strong defence and Martial and Rashford, I just don't see how that team doesn't come in the top four next season and actually could maybe even do even better. So it's interesting. We've just gone up to £14,575, which is great. We're getting so close to 15,000. Keep your contributions coming in. The link's in the video description. It's the top line. Nab says, big shout out to doctors, nurses, social workers. It sounds like a rap. Big shout out to doctors, nurses, social workers, care assistants, and everybody else doing their bit in helping the most. It worked at the start. Big shout out to doctors, nurses, social workers, care assistants, and everybody else doing their bit in helping the most vulnerable people within our society. Well done, and God bless to you all. That's £30 plus gift aid of $7.50. Nab, thank you very much. Keep up the great work, guys. Fantastic effort for an amazing course, as Alec Hughes. Colin, thank you very much. And we've had an anonymous as well. Adam Cord, Andy Perth from Australia with 10 quid. Tim Briggs and Sasha Norton, thank you very much for your €10. Let's have a look what else we've got. I want to shout everyone else who's doing it. David Young, great work done by both channels. Keep it up. Jamie Pewd, shout out to all the key workers like my friend David, working hard in a valve factory. Yeah, it's not key workers are very important as well. Russell, thank you. Ryan Hexham, thank you. Who else haven't we shouted out in the last sort of 20 minutes? Yenchko, Jack Power, Josh Meany, I'll read it because they made a contribution. Peter File 69. There you go. We know we got some of these last night. You know, if you think that people won't do it on a Just Giving page to try and make you say something funny, they will. They will. Would you prefer Aubameyang or Werner at United? Says Luke D. Easy for me. I'm a big fan of Timo Werner. He's a lot younger than Aubameyang. As much as it's banter, I also would. You know, it was bad. You know, Robin van Persie wasn't a signing we made to banter Arsenal fans. Robin van Persie was just an amazing signing because he was a brilliant player, and it was a bonus that it bantered Arsenal fans. I'm not actually in the game, and I don't think many United fans are in the game of just buying Arsenal fans to piss them off. So as much as Aubameyang's a good player, I'd rather take Timo Werner than take a rival's player because he's an Arsenal player, isn't he? And yeah, he'll come to United and he'll kiss the badge. I'm sure he will, but I'd rather take Timo Werner, who's got no history with any of our rivals, and him become world class and become our own unique legend. Because the thing is, as much as I love Van Persie, was Van Persie a better player for Arsenal or United? Well, he was a better player for Arsenal because he had one good season for United, and it was an epic season, and we won the title because of him. And for me, I love Van Persie, a brilliant player, but he played at Arsenal a lot longer, and he played at Arsenal a lot better over a longer period of time. He's a bigger United legend because Arsenal fans probably can't stand him, but you know, we benefited from what he did from Arsenal. I would rather we went and got Timo Werner and built our own legend. So I would rather go with Timo Werner. We have got Robbie coming on at some point. He's just having a little bit of a rest at the moment. And sorry, I thought I'd had a message there. I don't know why. I don't know why. We don't know why. Okay, so Werner's going to go to Liverpool, says Lakshman here. Well, there is a report from Germany today. We've already spoken about Werner, that Liverpool haven't made any contact for Werner. And I always think it's very interesting on Werner from a United point of view that Werner did do that interview I was talking about a few minutes ago, where he said where he was quite open to a project like Manchester United because you're going to a club that's not actually won anything yet, that's actually not doing as well. Whereas if you go to Liverpool, they're already winning things. So what's the better project? To go to a big club and be part of them building something, or to go to a club that's already doing it? And I think, look, Liverpool are the favourites, but are United actually in for Werner? That's the thing. Stickman says, do you think Van Persie would have performed at the level of his good season if Sir Alex had stayed, or was he on his way down anyway? No. Van Persie just was disillusioned, I think. He signed for Sir Alex Ferguson expecting to play for Sir Alex Ferguson for 3 or 4 years. He got 1 year and a title. Sir Alex Ferguson went. The whole ethos of Manchester United disappeared. David Moyes walked in, and I think Van Persie was just like, bloody hell. It was worth it for the title, but this is not what I expected. And it wasn't just Van Persie who dropped off. Rooney dropped off. Vidic and Fernandes basically retired, didn't they? Everybody dropped off after that. So you can't just put it on Van Persie. But I think if Sir Alex had stayed, Van Persie would have stayed the fantastic player that we bought him. I just think the circumstances just disappeared. Opinions on a possible Bundesliga early May return, and well done to you and the AFTV. Is that actually a story? Let's have a look. The great thing about this is we can have a look at some breaking news here. There's not really anything about it. Let's have a look what this says here. So there's an article here whereby with Bloomberg, and they're going through all the I mean, this is good. This is a good thing to talk about. When will football come back? So Serie A was the first one to suspend on March the 9th, and then you got La Liga on March the 10th, the Portuguese League on March the 12th, German League March the 13th, English League was March the 13th as well, and it's quite an interesting article, this. Let me just have a quick sort of scan of it. Meanwhile, the halt translates to lost income for clubs. How much is made from fans attending matches? This is really interesting. Okay, so in England, we make 723 million euros from gate receipts, and average gate receipts per club is 36.2. We are top of the league in this country for money made from people attending grounds. So that says a lot for the problems that domestic clubs might have. In the world, the biggest club revenue-wise is Barcelona, 5.7 million euros average per game from fans. And Real Madrid are second, Bayern Munich are third, Arsenal are fourth, and then United are fifth with 4.1 million. But this is quite interesting. The average club in the Premier League makes 36.2 million per game in euros. In Spain, it's 27.8. In Germany, it's 28.4. And then it drops massively in Italy to 13.4 and France 13.3. The driving revenue for Europe's top major leagues, including TV and sponsorship deals, are the main sources. TV makes up 53% of revenue for English clubs, 34% for German clubs, and 42% for Spanish clubs. Gate receipts are 26% in England, 38% in Germany. So Germany are the club that's got the biggest percentage of fan gate receipts making up their thing. I'm just trying to see if they're going to say it's a very interesting article, but it doesn't actually say. French league clubs are considering a plan for the remainder of the relegation season to be played between June and July. La Liga is looking at potentially June. Belgium's league, we know, is already gone. And Bundesliga clubs have resumed training with small groups of players, while the league's board is exploring resuming matches without spectators on May the 9th. So there you go. We got there in the end. But it's very interesting what's going on around Europe, because I don't know where everybody lives. I don't want to know where you live. But in England, we ain't getting football back before June. We're not even training. There's a story around Manchester United that the ground staff at Carrington have been told to go and prepare it for a return to training next month. But even then, you're going to have 3 or 4 weeks of training before you get back playing. So we're not going to see football in the Premier League back by before June. But I remember what I said at the start of the lockdown at the end of March. The league that brings football back first is going to get a massive audience, because if somebody said to you on May the 10th, Borussia Dortmund are playing Hoffenheim, you're going to watch it because it's football, aren't you? People are craving that. So the Premier League's not going to be back first, and it can't be back first. It's nothing to do with the Premier League. This is to do with the situation in the UK. We can't bring it back. The Premier League can have all the money in the world, but they can't stop the curve. They can't change how many people are getting this virus. Germany have handled it better with their testing. Maybe they've been a bit fortunate, I don't know, but they've handled it better. And May the 9th is still 3 weeks away, basically. So maybe we're going to see Bundesliga football back. The reality is Dortmund and Bayern Munich have been back training for at least 2 weeks. Not close training. They've been like 2 meter training, but they have been training. And we're not doing that in England. So, and I don't think Italy or Spain are going to be back till June, but Germany just seems to be ahead of the curve in relation to this, away from football, and therefore they're probably going to be ahead of the curve in relation to football as well. So I think the Bundesliga is going to be back. So yeah, we'll see. And it's interesting in that article how in Bundesliga their biggest source of revenue is gate receipts as well. But I think just on that, and I think everybody's interested in this, I just feel that Premier League football will be back in June. Mark, you're doing a brilliant job with AFTV. Also, if you had to pick one player for United, Haaland or Werner, would you go for Haaland? Timo's injury prone. I don't really know much about Timo Werner's injury record, Chief Leaf Gamer. I've got to put my hands up there. But I probably would go for Haaland because I think the only thing that puts me off Haaland is who his agent is. But I probably would go for that. Him over Timo Werner, but I'd be very happy with either of them at Manchester United. If you want to do some comparisons, I'll play a game with you as well. You can chuck me some. Let's do Pogba versus De Bruyne then. Who are you going to go for? Pogba versus De Bruyne. Get in there. KT says the most important thing is that the curve doesn't go up again. We've got to stay home and stay safe, 100%. And that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this, remember. That's why we're doing this 24-hour stream with AFTV, raising money for our NHS. The link's in the video description. Please keep contributing because the whole point we haven't got football, the whole point we're on lockdown is because of this virus that's going around the world, and it's our NHS and our NHS workers that are keeping people alive, risking their lives and doing a fantastic job. Haller to United. He's crap, mate. I'm not even going to shout you out for that because he's crap. It'd be unfair to expose your name in the live comments. So, yeah, he's absolutely rubbish, Haller. Wouldn't want him anywhere near. Anas says Pogba all day. Giles Osborne says Henderson. Yeah, he's not part of it. Pogba, De Bruyne. Ethan Spencer says De Bruyne. Pogba, De Bruyne. It's quite trying to get a sort of slant on this. De Bruyne for sure. Pogba, De Bruyne. I tell you what, I think it's actually becoming more and more clear. Lingard's better than both, says H13. Let's give it a minute or so. Ricky says Matic, Fleck. Yeah, I'm not going to shout him out for saying United should get Haller. It's not fair. You get so much abuse. I would say 70% are going De Bruyne and 30% are going Pogba. I would agree with Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, I'm a United fan and I like Pogba, but the whole point is, where's Pogba been for a year? I think Pogba, when he plays to his best of ability, he's in the equation. I think De Bruyne or Pogba is a very good conversation to have. It's not Messi, Ronaldo, is it? But they are very, very close in relation to their talents, but De Bruyne does it far more consistently on a pitch. And, some of that's been because of injury for Pogba, but I think that's always going to be a factor in a player's career, isn't it? Being injury prone or being injured a lot will not do any favors against a player that isn't as injured as much. And remember, this time last year, I think many people would have said Pogba because De Bruyne missed most of the season. So things can change. In a year's time, we might all be saying Pogba, but I think as of today, I would say Kevin De Bruyne would be the one that I would go for. But I mean, look, there's no doubting that Pogba's a fantastic player. Thank you to Gary Fairbrother, 20 quid from him. Anonymous says, I've watched your show for a few years and I love the content. What you and the team are doing for the NHS is brilliant. Also, hats off to all your families who have supported whilst doing the show. Exactly. They do support us behind the scenes, allowing us to do it, which is very difficult when you're on lockdown. You've got 3 kids. So big shout out to the kids and the wife and everybody else's partners and kids and everything who've helped everybody, because I know a lot of us have got it. Ravi, Silla, Tia and Sia, well done. AFTV and the United Stand from Liverpool fans, £50. Thank you very much. And £12.50 in gift aid. And again, a lot of people have contributed who aren't United fans, who aren't Arsenal fans, because it's football fans for the NHS. It's football fans for the NHS. No toxicity, no barriers. It's people getting involved. So thanks everyone who's done that. Great effort, guys. Love the NHS and love United, says P. Thanks to Lucas as well, to Cameron Whittle. Salah Ahmed. Hi, Mark. This is Salah Ahmed here. Avid viewer of the United Stand in your career mode as well as Call of Duty. Keep up the good work as we fans coming together to help the NHS. You're a legend. Thank you. And I do recognise you from your many contributions you've made on my FIFA career mode, which are always insightful as well. Nicole Standing, great to see what the channels are doing. Thank you very much, Nicole. Yaza Ebra says, well done, everyone. You've done an amazing job. 22 quid from him. And Nab says, big shout out to that's that one again, isn't it? That's my rap. Big shout out to doctors, nurses, social workers. Just works well. And big shout out to them as well. We're on 14,700. So we're getting so close to that 15,000. Please keep contributing. Links in the video description. Keep sharing the video as well. Absolute legends, everybody who's getting involved. Really, really, really appreciate it. Let me just have a quick look, because we've been on air for coming up for 2 hours. And there may well be some new news. There was a story at the start, which I started on, which was Paul Pogba being told by Robbie Fowler to go and watch the 1984 European Cup final with Graham Souness in it, and then you'll understand what a legend is. And look, with all due respect, Robbie Fowler was a natural good goal scorer for Liverpool, but I do think he should go back to what he iconically did, which is sniff a line on a pitch. And I don't mean a line of cocaine. He was sniffing the marked line, because that was something that was going around at the time. But he's definitely sniffing something. I mean, why does Paul Pogba need to go and watch a 1984 European Cup final? As I said at the time, it's like asking me to go and watch Batman from the 60s with Adam West in it. No, thanks. I'll watch Christian Bale because it's better. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And Robbie Fowler's just doing that to get trending on Twitter and be relevant. And you're irrelevant, Robbie, and just sit down. Or sniff down, basically. Mark, love the videos. Great work with this charity. Keep up the good work. Love from Denmark, says Malt Nilsson. Thanks everyone who's been getting involved with that. Ashley Hall says, I've had an argument with the missus to come and watch this. Well, don't start arguing. We've all got to live together happy. And the baller says, shout out my mum, as my mum is working tirelessly for the NHS. And Graham Souness is jealous of Pogba's trophy cabinet. Pogba needs to watch the final so he can learn how to play as a centre midfielder, says Nitin Man. Look, I think criticism of Pogba's fine, but I think dismissing Pogba as a talent is ignorant. Pogba is a top player, and maybe Fowler should go back and watch the last World Cup. Pogba played out of position and was France's best player. That's very good, Sean Turner. Very good indeed. I agree with you on that one. Let's see what else we've got coming out. I mean, Alexis Sanchez is very interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's a story in Alexis Sanchez. I think he's coming back, and we'll just have to see what happens with that. Wayne Rooney's Harry Kane hint. I'd build a team round next Ruud van Nistelrooy. I mean, I'd say I've got to just let's just talk about that for a moment. That's quite interesting. Harry Kane is a really interesting point, whether you're an Arsenal fan, United fan, Spurs fan, any fan, because I think you can all have an opinion on it. And M6 Matty says, amazing work from both channels. Always great content from Goldbridge. Can you shout out Pink Boots for my fiance Samantha? You always crack us up. Pink Boots. It's the Pink Boots, Marcus. Or should I say Pink Boots? It's the Pink Boots, Samantha. I don't even know. You know where that came from at the time. I've done my reaction. There is a reaction to me talking about that, but I don't know. It was just despair. I think in despair, the brain works in a very different way, doesn't it? But yeah, it's the Pink Boots. It's the Pink Boots, Marcus. Look at him with his feet like skin. You're a tin of salmon. Lewis Podker says, keep donating, people. Get to 20k in the next hour. Keep donating. And Mark, Bruno or Pogba, you have to pick one. So Salah Ahmed. Bruno, I've done it on this stream already. There is a show tonight at 8 o'clock. Gail Adam, 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be live. We've got Ricky and Saeed, I think, coming on. We'll definitely get a couple of guests. It's 8 o'clock every night on the United Stand. Make sure you subscribe. We will be doing our 8 o'clock show. Don't worry about that. And I'm also doing my FIFA career mode as well at 2:30 on Mark Goldbridge. That's football. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a little bit of R&R, bit of relaxation. But yes, keep contributing. What we were going to talk about, Harry Kane, weren't we? I mean, I'm tired. That's why I'm yawning. Harry Kane makes me yawn. I'm Harry Kane. Harry Kane. What are you all about me, Harry Kane? I'm a good player. I don't know why you're yawning about me. I don't know why you're yawning about me. I'm a good player. I've scored a lot of goals at United. I don't know why you're yawning about me. There's nothing boring about Harry. There's nothing boring about Harry Kane. There's nothing boring about me. What's boring about Harry Kane is the story. I just seem to see it every day with somebody else. Wayne Rooney saying it now. I've seen Gary Neville say it. I've seen Harry Redknapp say it. He'd be a great. Well, he'd be a great player for Manchester United. It'd be a great, build a team around Harry Kane. Wayne Rooney's doing it now. At the end of the day, I think Harry Kane be a great signing for Manchester United and build a team around him. So I'm rubbish at. I'm absolutely rubbish at. I think that's why they're funny, because they're so bad. I think more people should be annoyed with MUTV for leading one of our players into such a bad situation. They did him no favours, says Southpaw of Sports. I think I said that in the week about Pogba. But yeah, so Rooney saying, you can build a team by Harry Kane at Manchester United. I think Gary Neville saying it, Harry Redknapp saying it. This is what's making me yawn, Harry. Not you. I'm Harry Kane. Harry Kane. I'm the enemy of Batman. But I do think that it's boring talking about Harry Kane to Manchester United because it's bollocks. I mean, Wayne Rooney's better than that. Gary Neville's better than that. Harry Redknapp's better than that. I know we're on lockdown, but it's not called lazy down. We're on lockdown. We can still be intelligent. Why aren't people saying what you're saying? Why is Wayne Rooney saying you can build a team around Harry Kane at Manchester United? Why is Harry Redknapp saying it'd be a good move? Why is Gary Neville saying it? That'd be a good move. Like, they're intelligent people. They're just not using their brain to create a headline, because Harry Kane would be a good player at Manchester United, but it ain't going to happen because we're talking £150 million plus. Nobody's buying Harry Kane. Like, we're not buying Harry Kane. We just bought Harry Kane. All right, well, we bought it now, but we're not going to buy Harry Kane. £150 million. We're not buying Harry Kane. Jadon Sancho's our priority at £100 million. We're not buying Harry Kane. So why is Rooney, Gary Neville and Redknapp and everybody else saying, he'd be a great player for United, be a bloody great player for United? I don't know why. Because we're not going to sign a player like that because he's too expensive. He's also always gets injured, and he's 27, and he's over £150 million. We may as well say, Messi be a good player. We may as well say that. I'm a good player. I'm not Messi. I'd never say I'm not. I'm not boring, and I'm not Messi. But yeah, we may as well say let's build a team around Messi, because there's more chance of us getting Messi, I think, than there is of getting Harry Kane, because we're not going to spend £150 million. Never in a million years. We've got over 4,000 people watching, which is fantastic. Thanks everybody for tuning in this Sunday morning. We're on the home straight of the 24 hours. I'm sad that we're on the home straight, to be honest. I think we've done a great thing. You've done a great thing. We've done something that, you know, we wanted to do, and hopefully it inspires a lot of people. Jaysesh says, for the magnificent NHS, he's donated 10 quid. Alex has donated 30 quid, says amazing work. Gary Fairbrother as well, £20. And Anonymous. Please do keep those donations coming in. We are £240 away from 15,000, which is an amazing achievement. Robbie's going to be looking at that going, how does Goldbridge do it? How does he get the money coming in? You know, they should get me on Comic Relief or something like that. You know, I don't know. It's not me. They should get you and me on there, because your tenacity to raise money for our NHS, and we've done it for the Marie Curie, we've done it before, has been absolutely heartwarmingly, humblingly fantastic again. So please do give that final push. The link's in the video description to donate through the Just Giving page, and obviously keep sharing the video as well. And if you are new to the channel, I must just say, please do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner, we're live every night at 8 o'clock. It's this sort of stuff. As Eric Snow says, do Michael Caine. I don't know where my glasses are. I can't see, they need a wipe. She was only 17 years old. She was only 50 years old. Batman. I will not bury another Batman. I will not bury another Batman, Bruce Wayne. I will not bury another Batman. I will not bury another Batman. I won't bury another Batman. Barry. I will not bury another Batman. I told you to blow the bloody doors off. Crap, Michael Caine. I'm known for it. But I have had sleep. I'm not delirious, by the way. We need to sign Avio Padau, one for the future, says White Soda. Never heard of him. And I can't really do Scouse. But thanks everyone for tuning in as well. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. Let's do another. Let's do another controversial signing. Okay. We've done Arsenal. We're gonna do. I'm trying to think of a decent. Oh, I know what we'll do. This is a thing. Being as Ricardo Pereira got voted the most underrated player in the Premier League by you, we're going to play controversial signing. We've done Liverpool, we've done Man City, we've done Chelsea, we've done Spurs, and we've done Arsenal. I can't think of another big club, so we're going to do Liverpool. We're going to do Leicester. Salah Ahmed says, "Is your content? It's your content, Mark. You have your career mode, Call of Duty, going for Goldbridge, plus the United Stand. So the variety of content is what makes you a legend." Oh, thank you, Salah. You're very nice. Jim White. I can do Jim White. We're going to do Leicester, and I'm just getting news in now, Natalie. We're going to do Leicester. So what we've got here is 2 players from Leicester City into a Manchester United side, and you've got to drop 2 players. I'm going a bit Ali McCoist there. I'm trying to stay with Jim White. Stay with me. Stay with Jim White. We're going to go 2 players. I've gone Ali McCoist again. We're going to go for 2 players, Natalie. Jim White. We're going to go 2 players. You've got to pick from Leicester to go into the first team of Manchester United. Jim White, Sky Sports. 2 players from Leicester. Manchester United first team. They've got to go straight in. You've got to drop somebody, Natalie. 2 points, Jim White. 2 players. Leicester City. Basically, pick 2 players from Leicester City that you're going to put in a United team or an Arsenal team or a Chelsea team. Just pick 2 players from Leicester. They go in. You've got to drop 2 players from United or whatever your club is to bring 2 Leicester players in. I'm not going to bring in Ricardo Pereira because we've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm going to 100% bring in Ndidi. He's my number 1 choice. Straight in, CDM, Ndidi. They don't have a right winger I want, though, which is odd because I would take most teams' right winger, but I'm not a fan of Perez or Old Brighton, so they can stay. I would take Ndidi, put him in the midfield with Pogba and Bruno, and I would take... I'm thinking about Sionku with Maguire Is he much better than Lindelof? Is Chilwell better than Shaw? It's tough. A lot of people are saying Chilwell and Ndidi, although Doobie Guy says Ndidi and Iheanacho. Ndidi and Tillemans. Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. Harvey Barnes. Damari Gray. Doesn't really start for them, though, does he? Ndidi and Perez, says Shaka Phillips. Ndidi and Sionku, says Chris Owens. Vardy and Maddison. Ndidi and Maddison for Lingard and Smalling. Yeah, but they're not Ishtak. Can I get Jim White back? Ishtak Ahmed. You've got no bloody idea what you're talking about. Natalie, get rid of him. Absolutely shocking. Ishtak Ahmed has got an Ndidi and Maddison for Lingard and Smalling. They don't bloody play for the first team at Manchester United. And I'm losing Jim White here. I'm going into somebody else, but you've got to pick first team players. I've lost him. He's gone. You've gone, Jim. It's got to be first team players. You can't bring Ndidi and Maddison in for Lingard and Smalling. They don't play for United. It's first team players. You've got to take 2 first team United players out and bring in 2 Leicester players. So Ndidi comes in for Matic or McTominay or Fred, whoever. He plays with Bruno and Pogba. And I am going to bring Chilwell in at left back. So, yeah, I'm going to go Ndidi and Chilwell. Although Dom is a City fan, he says I'd go Sionku and Chilwell. Yeah, I get that. I do get that. Defender J-Man says I'd take Albrighton and Gray for Rashford and James. Ooh, controversy. Controversy there. Vandy Candy's dropped the link in the video description for you to donate. So let's have a quick look how we're going there. We're getting energized for the last hour. Ian, Rooney's back. Ian. We're slowing down a little bit. Jason Charles with 20 quid. Thank you. He says, thank you, Mark and Robbie and team for your continuous efforts in support of the NHS. I've really enjoyed it. What you guys are doing will not be recognised on BBC or Sky, but is genuinely recognised by us. Well, look, you know what? It's funny you say that. I mean, let's have a serious conversation here for a moment, because I don't want to blow my own whistle here. I don't actually. I'm quite modest. I am quite modest, but my story around football is really interesting. It's really interesting. I'm a lad from Nottingham. The reason I support Manchester United is because of my granddad, who absolutely loved the Busby Babes. And I used to get taken to watch Forest as a kid when my mum and dad separated, because my dad's a Chelsea fan, my mum's a United fan, but we lived in Nottingham, and my dad used to get custody of us at the weekend. So he would drop my sister off at his grandparents and just take me down to the City Ground for a couple of hours to watch football, because I love football. I ended up going to Hillsborough as a young lad, and horrific, and no football fan should ever go to a football match and not come home. When I used to go and watch football in the late 80s, it was hooligan. I'm old enough to remember 1990, which is the best World Cup. I remember 96, Euro 96. I saw all of United's success, from them not being good to being good. I've seen the invention of the Premier League. I've seen all of Messi and Ronaldo. It's a really interesting story, my story. And it's one that I think people would be interested to know rather than me just telling it. But we don't get recognised by the mainstream media. It's weird. It is weird. And people say, "Oh, does that bother you?" Well, not really, because football fans for the NHS, for fan channels. I've started the United Stand all those years ago because I felt frustrated by Match of the Day, Sky Sports, because I spent a lot of my life watching Match of the Day religiously and Soccer Saturday. And they're very entertaining, and I really do like them. But it's always ex-players. And the older I got, the more I became aware of this reality. Don't meet your heroes, you'll be disappointed. And I've met a lot of ex-players over the years who I've watched on the telly and go, they're great. And then I've seen them in real life and gone, what a rude, arrogant, sometimes thick person. How are they talking like that? Why are they the voice of football when they're like that? And a lot of it's because they've got a bit of paper in front of them with stats and everything like that. And they're personable people. I like what they do. But what was always missing was the most important thing of football, which is you, the fans. So this is probably why Robbie started it. It's certainly why I started it. I wanted to get into conversation with people that I used to go on forums, like, you remember forums years ago, that I know they still have them, but you go on a football forum like BBC 606, you go in the United section, somebody be talking about it's time to get rid of Sir Alex, and you type something in, and then you keep refreshing for the next hour before someone replied. The brilliant thing about social media and YouTube and United Stand and everything like that is, if I say it's time for Solskjaer to go, within a minute, there's 20, 30 very good different opinions to interact with. Honest opinions as well. Sometimes odd opinions, sometimes divisive opinions, sometimes toxic, sometimes banter, but you've got real opinion. And that, to me, is the brilliance of what you are and of what football fans are. And that's why I started doing the United Stand, and that's why I value it. And that's why not being recognised by mainstream media isn't really a problem. I don't know why they don't do it, but it's not really a problem, because what we do is football fans, and that isn't what they do. They would rather chuck hundreds of thousands of pounds a year at a retired footballer and get them to talk. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, these footballers definitely have an insight. They've played at the highest level, but have they studied and watched and supported a club at the highest level? No, they haven't. It's a totally different perspective. And to me, I've always said that football fan opinion, to me, is far more important than Alan Shearer's or Gary Lineker's or anybody else, because you support football, and you do it because you love it, and you're engrossed in it, and you're passionate about it, and your opinion's honest, and it's a very different opinion to what you get from the mainstream media. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's addictive, and you lot play a massive part in that. So I value your opinion way more than I do an ex-players or anything like that. And that's not being elitist or arrogant or dismissive of their opinion. I grew up with their opinion. That's all there was. I like this new world. I like this new opinion, because I know I can say something and I can learn something from you lot. So I really enjoy it. Newcastle are going to be the next PSG, says Josh Healy. Well, we've sort of discussed that, and I'm not convinced they will be, Josh. I'm not. You've got to get players to Newcastle. You've got to get the right players to Newcastle. You've got to have the right manager. And also, you're still going to do it against Man City, Liverpool, United. They're not going anywhere. And financial fair play will be a thing. So I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be, I think Newcastle will become a better team and they'll become a challenger, but it's not going to be an easy road. Money doesn't necessarily get you success. Dinky, this is a very good point. He says, it's been so long since I watched United play, I've forgotten if I'm Ollie in or out. That is absolutely, that is so funny. And it's you know what, I tell you what, let's do a social experiment here. I'm actually going to type this out as a tweet, and let's see what it does. And you lot are going to be in on the joke. What'll happen is when I tweet this, people who hate me, of which there are toxic people out there, will use it as a reason to go, look at this dickhead. And then people who like me will get it. And then people like you who follow me on Twitter on here will know we're doing a social experiment. So it's been so long since I watched United. I've forgotten. All right, for Toffee. Forgotten if I'm only in or out. Let's change that a little bit. Since United played. It's been so long since United played. I forgot if I'm only in. Yeah. See what happens with that. Oh, God. I can't believe nobody's walked through and offered me a cup of coffee as well. I'm gagging for a cup of coffee. I've been going for 2 hours. Right. Let's have a look how we're doing on the old contributions. I'm really hopeful that it's going to keep ticking over, because it was slowing down a bit. It's ticking over. We're up to 14,871. 14,871. Come on, one big push now. Links in the video description. Let's get to 15K. Rashid Bello says, I work for the NHS and I really feel it's the best healthcare in the world and the people working there are heroes every day, including in this difficult time. Thank you, Rashid. Fantastic. And a big shout out to you and all your colleagues. Andy W, best wishes and thank you. Anonymous, £5, thank you. Drogba from Munich says, shout out to the frontline workers for their services in these trying times. Also, thank you to AFTV and United Stand for organising this. Connor Donaghy says, keep up the good work. The NHS and their staff are true heroes. My girlfriend is a student nurse and will be heading back out on the wards. I mean, this is it as well. It's not just the established workers who are doing a great job. It's student nurses who are being fast-tracked in. It's retired people who are coming back. It's the volunteers. Everybody, all hands on pumps. Absolutely heroes. Could I have a cup of coffee, please? Oh, there you go. Yeah. Appreciate that. Jason Charles, thank you to Mark and Robbie and the team. I really enjoyed it, and that we spoke about that one before, Jason. But you've had 2 shouts there. Well done. Links in the video description. 14,871. I can't wait to hit that 15K. You know you're going to do it. Link in the video description. Keep sharing the video, everybody, as well. We will be live at 8 o'clock tonight as well. We'll have a proper blast of football news there, but we're integrating it with entertainment, hopefully, here as well. And I am doing the FIFA career mode at 2:30 on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, which is just going to be... Oh, need to keep winning. Need to keep winning. Mark, if you could change one football moment in history, which one would it be? Oh, William Collins. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. If you could change one... Well, look, on a serious note, if I could change one thing from football history, it would be Hillsborough. I remember my dad saying to me on the drive home, and we didn't even know the full extent of what had happened. Basically, we were at the other end of the pitch, and they kept us up. They kept everyone in the ground. That's all I remember. I was very young. They kept everyone in the ground, and down the other end of the ground was where it happened. And, people always say, oh, what did you see and everything like that. It's just morbid. I'm not interested in talking about that. But to be honest with you, if I'm absolutely honest, I don't remember seeing anything. I would have seen stuff because we were kept in the ground. I remember Liverpool fans coming up towards this end and getting quite agitated because I think at this end they were booing them because they didn't know what had happened, and they obviously did know what was happening. And I remember the advertising boards being ripped up and used as stretchers. But I remember my dad saying on the way home, and it's logical what he said. Akin Bolid Aquari says, well done, guys. Thank you very much. And it always stuck with me because I was quite young at the time, is that he said, I wish that had never happened and we'd lost 9-0. And I remember thinking about it like as a young lad and thinking, but if it hadn't happened, we never would have known about it. And if we'd lost 9-0, we would have been gutted. But actually, as you think about it, it's very logical, isn't it? You would rather lose a game by any score than that happen. So on a very serious note, I would obviously wish that Hillsborough had never happened. But to take it away from that and say, look, let's do it in relation to a footballing thing. If I could change one event, the England ones come out to me for some reason. It's very easy to say Aguero scoring that goal, but to be honest with you, we've won so many titles at United. We've been so blessed that I think, to me, I used to love England a lot when I was growing up. I used to love England up until I was about, I think by about 2007, I was losing interest in England. I think 2006 World Cup was probably the last one where I really gave a shit. And then I did get back into it in the last one, to be fair, to Southgate, but I lost interest in England over the last 15 years. But Italia 90 as a young lad, Euro 96. So what would I like to change? A few older people would say the hand of God by Maradona, because England might have gone and won the World Cup there. But I think if I could have changed anything, the World Cup in Italia 90 would have been beating Germany on penalties, or Waddle's shot going in and not hitting the post. Knocking Germany out in the World Cup semi-final in 1990, because we definitely would have beat Argentina And that was the best World Cup of my life, 90. So for England to win a World Cup would have been great, but to win the World Cup at the best World Cup, that would have been, I mean, it gives me goosebumps now. So surprising for me, I normally would go for something United related, but I would go with that. And of course, a lot of people are talking about Munich. Of course, Busby Babes, but that's not in my lifetime, is it? So I'm doing something in my lifetime. So, but yeah, Hillsborough, Munich, any tragedy, Bradford Fire, Heysel, anything. I think people would go and change that. But if we're doing it in a footballing sense, then for me, I wouldn't go for a United moment. I'd go for England knocking Germany out in the semi-final of the World Cup, because as a United fan, I've just been blessed, absolutely blessed. I've seen trebles, I've seen so many titles, I've seen another Champions League. I think any United fan who witnessed that Solskjaer goal and that treble-winning season, you can't wish for anything else. You can always wish to win more titles because that's what you need to be. That's what United is. We've got to win titles. We've got to be greedy. Every club, no matter who you support, you've got to be greedy. You've got to wish for more and more and more. But winning that treble and witnessing it and seeing it happen and having that emotion of thinking you're not going to do it and then do it, and Solskjaer has won it. I've said it so many times. Anyone who watches that channel, I was sat there 3 o'clock in the morning, couple of mates, bottle of whiskey, cigar, Malahide Beach in Ireland, because that's where I lived at the time. And I was like, I don't want to go to bed. Even though I'd work in the morning, I don't want to go to bed, because when I wake up, it will never be as good as now. And then tomorrow and the day after, it will never be as good as now. We're never going to get this again. Never going to get this. And one of the lads said, well, yeah, we might win the treble next year. I said, yeah, but we'll never win it like that. It won't be the first time we've done it. It won't be we're losing 1-0 into extra time of the third game, which is the treble-winning Champions League final. And then Solskjaer wins it, and you do it in the space of 2 minutes. We'll never get that. So I'd have to go for something England-related, because I've just been blessed as a United fan. Almost there, Mark. Title charge, as Daniel Polovsky. But I'm not one of those United fans who goes, well, I've been blessed. You've got to take the rough with the smooth. I don't agree with that. I remember a particular blue tick United fan who's got a fanzine, I think, saying this might have been last season. He said, look, at the end of the day, it's a bit like, living in a great house. I don't know what they said. They said, look, I've had the rough, I've had the great things so I can live with the smooth. And I think I said it, or someone else said, but that's a bit like saying I've got a fantastic house. I've had a fantastic house and now I'm homeless. So I may as well just put up with it because I had the fantastic house. It doesn't work like that. And football doesn't work like that. Arsenal were invincibles. Does that mean they should put up with where they are now? Liverpool used to win the title all the time. They didn't win it. They've never won it in the Premier League era. And they're about to win it. But does that mean that for the last 30 years, they should be going, oh, well, we used to be good? That's not how it works in football. Love your content, Mark. Come to Bradford, says Bally B. I don't think I've ever been to Bradford, actually. And apparently, we've hit 15K. And I'm just going to get confirmation now with an F5 refresh. Bada bing, bada boom. We've done it. Boom shakalak. Come on. 75%, £15,084. Come on. Come on, Man City, as Liam would say. Mad for it. Anonymous £5. Lily, here you go. Taking it to £15,000 from Australia. Love what you do. Lily with the final push there. $250 from Australia. Keep it up, guys. Legends, says Andrew V with 30 quid. Mick McGrath says keep going. 20 quid there. We had an anonymous £5. But I must just stand up. You probably can't see my head. And bow. You probably see my bald patch. I haven't really got one. I bow to you all. Absolutely fantastic. The thing is, I never doubted it. I never doubted we were going to do it. When we took it over from AFTV at 3 o'clock yesterday, I think it was around 2,000 and we took it to 5.5. We got it back at around 7,000 for the quiz and we took it to 10. And then this morning we got it around 13,000. Did we get it? And I knew we'd do 15. I knew it. I just knew it. I knew it. This is why we set it up for us to finish it, because I knew we'd take it over there. Absolutely fantastic. Corey Holdsworth, £5 says, go on, Don Robbie. Hey, big shout out to Robbie and all the AFT TV lot. It's been a great team effort. There's no I in team. We've all done it together. And Andy W, thank you very much. Mohammed Zaid Patel says, my mum is in hospital due to this horrible COVID-19, and the work AFTV and United Stand is doing to support the nurses and doctors who are risking their lives to help people is amazing. Thank you for that. And I hope she pulls through, mate, because the reality of this is that we can all be very, very proud of what we've done as football fans for the NHS. This is a fantastic achievement, and keep the contributions going, because we're still going here. Keep it going. The link's in the video description, and it will still keep going anyway. All these videos you can rewatch on the United Stand and AFTV. There's loads of content. The quiz last night is just gold entertainment. And you can donate if you want. But the quiz last night was brilliant. AFTV versus United Stand. Brilliant quiz put together by Drawty. Really good questions. You could watch that back, and the comedy in there, especially from Claude, is just hilarious. So, there's content. Keep contributing. But the serious thing is, of course, the stories like that, the people who are in hospital, the people who are going to be going into hospital, the people who have died, the people who are very ill, the NHS workers who have died, the NHS workers who will die, the NHS workers who go to work every day and put themselves on the line to save lives, to help people, the heroes without capes, who don't appreciate that they're heroes, because having worked in emergency services, and I've got friends who work in NHS, fire brigade, and obviously in the police, you don't go to work and put a cape on and go, I'm Superman or Wonder Woman. You just go to work and do your job that you picked to do. You know the risk, but you do the job because that is the job. When I was in the police and you get a call and, there's someone with a knife on the street attacking people or whatever, you don't go, yeah, I don't fancy that one today. I'm not paid enough. I'm not going to do it. I've got friends and family at home. You go. And the same thing, fire brigade, burning building, you go. You risk assess it, obviously. NHS workers know the risk, know people are dying, know people need help, and they go to work because that's their job. And some people would say, well, I'm sure some people think it, and I've heard some people saying it on Twitter and stuff. If I was in the NHS, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't risk it. Why should I risk it? And that's the mentality some people have. But that's why you're not in the NHS. That's why you're not emergency services. That's why not everybody works in the NHS or in the emergency services, because not everybody has got that mentality, and that's why they are heroes, and that's why we as football fans have done this for the NHS, because they have a mindset and a mentality and an empathy and a work ethic to go. There's a great line. When there's danger, some people run away and some people run towards it to help those people who need help. And it can be, if there's a fire or there's somebody being attacked, some people will run away, but some people will run towards it to stop the attack or to help the people who've been attacked. It's just a mindset, fight or flight, whatever. It doesn't make you a bad person if you're running away. It just means those people that do run towards it do deserve all the praise and help that you have given them today. So thank you, everybody. It's absolutely fantastic. And keep sharing and keep contributing. Renette Felstead has made a contribution just to support. Thank you very much. Which of the academy players do you think is most likely to succeed at United? Says Eskil Sandberg. You can't answer Greenwood. Well, there's a lot of academy players. I don't want to get this wrong. I'm going to come back to that. Hi, Mark. Love the channel. All the best to you, Pat McGee. Thank you, Pat. And I've had a couple of new members as well. Jamie Mason and Killbilly11. Thanks for joining the United Stand Members Club. I really appreciate that. We are live every night at 8 o'clock. We'll be live tonight. And you can subscribe if you're new. There might be newbies who've got no idea about the United Stand and think, you know what, this is a great community to be part of, because it is a great community to be part of. You might think I'm a prat. You might think some of it Rants is a prat. You might think Flex is a prat. But the community is great. So get involved. Links in the video description. Paul Robinson says, not all heroes wear capes. Exactly. And Habib Books says, big up the NHS. A United player that's going to, a youth player that's going to predict. Oh, my left field probably won't happen, but if it does happen, I look good, is Aloha Traore, who came from PSG. at 16. I think Hugworth or Mebry look like they'll be obvious ones, so I'm not going to say those. I don't want to say Brandon Williams because he's already started. I can't say Mason Greenwood. I think Garner. I think Garner might do it. If he gets the opportunities, I think Garner might do it. James Garner. Amazed with what the United Stand and AFT have done for the NHS. Keep up the good work. Mark, says William Sharp. Thank you very much. Yes, you need to watch. You need to watch. I hope Ethan Laird would be a good one as well. John Morris, yeah, I did think about him, but yeah, he's a good one. You do need to watch the quiz from last night because the Pratt in the Hat round was hilarious, and I think the only reason DT quite liked it was because it was free promotion for his hat brand. If you know, you know, Hawk said. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people on that tweet are saying, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I'm trying to see if there's anything new happening. Sunday morning, we should, you know what, Sunday morning, there should be some good stuff to talk about. Let's have a look what we got. Something about Saul Niguez. You know, sometimes mainstream media is slow sports news as well because they don't get their news as quick as we do because they don't go and research the European news. Man United and Man City are among the clubs who've been linked with a transfer to Wolves' Raul Jimenez in recent weeks. Although Manchester Evening News support understands he's not a priority target, which means we're not in for him anyway. I would like Raul Jimenez at Manchester United, but by the looks of it, we're not in for him. So there you go. Frank McAvenny. No one's going to know who he is, says that Gilmour and McTominay could be a really good midfield partnership for Scotland in future years. Jim White and Harry Maguire said what he does in lockdown. I wake up at around 7:30. Well, I don't wake up. My daughter wakes me up. We go downstairs. We put Peppa Pig on and we chill out for a bit. I go and make a coffee. Then we generally laze about for the first few hours at morning. Then I do a core circuit and I try and keep core switched on. My daughter generally joins in, jumps on me, makes it hard for me, causes a little bit of chaos. Then we make breakfast. Obviously, being inside, I'm doing more cooking than normal, which has been a bit different for me. I'm not best, but I'm getting better. Normally, I have scrambled egg, avocado and toast. Then I do a workout around 11 a.m. in the garden, running. You've seen a few drills on my Instagram. Sometimes it's on treadmill as well. I've got that and a few weights in garage and a few bags of cement. No, he didn't say that bit. It's a bit repetitive, but we've got to keep the mind switched on and keep in physical condition when the end of the season is up and running. I spend time with my family in the afternoon, taking dog for a walk about an hour each day around 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. Then my finance makes the dinner. Then my finance makes the dinner. I think I should have said my fiance, but it says finance. Then my finance makes dinner. It's definitely fiance. It's not finance. Then my finance makes dinner. Then we put our daughter in bed and we relax. Put Netflix on and I play some PlayStation. Call of Duty. I'm sure a lot of people are playing that. I'm enjoying it. I'm being positive. And I think that's the main message out here. I'm Harry Maguire from North. I'm king at North. I'm Harry Maguire. So there we go. That was all his words. That was all Harry Maguire's words. And I don't even know if Harry Maguire talks like that. I just imagine that he does. Mark, do a Premier League 11 from outside Big Six, says Chief Leaf Gamer. We're now over 15k. Big up United Stand and AFTV, says Manu Stu. Harvey Timpson, thank you. And Bully 147, good on you guys. Much love from an Irishman in Australia. I want Harry Maguire to do more interviews so I can do that voice. I enjoyed that. I do like Harry Maguire, by the way. I just think he's got that sort of a voice. I wish he'd said some other stuff. I've got any more Harry Maguire interviews we can read out. He's done a lot of good stuff, Harry Maguire. Food for the old folk. Fowler on Pogba versus Souness. Lukaku's been gobbing off about United a lot because he knows where his bread's buttered. Links between Atletico Madrid, Sol Niguez and Manchester United have resurfaced in the past couple of days. We did a video on that yesterday morning. Maddison's addressed his future, which we're aware of. Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. Mark, Man City just signed a 16-year-old Peru right back on a pre-contract for $2.5 million. There we go. I didn't know about that. I did not know about that. Yeah, FIFA career mode will be at 2:30 on Mark Goldbridge. That's football. So, yeah, get involved with that one. Everyone turning. I noticed. I mean, the sad thing for me is that politically, it's just our country's a joke. Whichever side of the fence you sit on, is it really helpful in a crisis that it's being made? It's turned into a political basketball. Get him out, get him in. We should have done this. We should have done that. People are dying every bloody day. Can we not just deal with the thing that's going on? And then we can sort the mess out afterwards. But can we not just sort out what is going on day to day and instead of turning it into a politic football? Let's have a look if there's anything else going on. Some good news here from BBC Politics from Sarah Gilbert, who I was talking about last week. The prospects of producing a COVID-19 vaccine are very good, says Professor Sarah Gilbert from Oxford University. I remember talking about her last week as well. Very hopeful, because the way we get football back and the way we get our lives back and the way we get, the things we're used to back, pubs, cinemas, etc., is by getting a vaccine. Let's have a look what people are saying in the live comments. Like that. We've got up to 15,401. Thanks everyone who's keeping to contribute. We've still got half an hour to go, so we may as well just keep banging it. We will have super chats to add to this as well. The way it works with the super chats. And also, very interesting as well, we've had 993 supporters on Just Giving. So we're 7 away from 1,000 people making contributions, which is just amazing. Keep going till you surpass Tom Moore. Jokes aside, brilliant work for a great cause, says David Alvey. I know he's smart. That's what happens when you get mainstream media coverage, though, isn't it? What Tom Moore did was great. The old fella who walked around his garden, he raised like over 20 million quid, but it got mainstream media coverage, and I'm very pleased that it did, because that money will all go towards the NHS. Andrew Miller says, push on for 16k. I've been watching you since yesterday. Fantastic initiative from United Stand and AFTV. Thank you, Andrew Miller. Steve Davis, fabulous effort and initiative. Kudos to you, Robbie, and all the other contributors. Well done. Dylan, thank you very much for the tenner. Steve from Bedford, big up the NHS, incredible effort. Also, shout out to United Stand and AFTV. Well done. And Dan Sharp, thank you very much. Lewis Dodds. Fantastic content, this, for an amazing cause. And I think that's a big thing as well. I think across both channels, I must just say, I've seen Robbie's had Matt Lucas on. He's had Kevin Campbell on. I'm probably forgetting people. We sort of decided to do it a little different because I just like interacting with you lot. So I know that and also this morning I knew getting guests on a Sunday morning between 9 and 12 is going to be very difficult. And also Flex and Rants have been up. A lot of people have been up through the night. So I was like, I'm just going to do the morning shift interacting with you, which is what I love to do. That's why when I do the watch-alongs, I do watch-alongs on my own, or used to. I don't know what the new world's going to look like, because I don't feel alone. I feel interacting with you lot's great. I know Robbie did pretty much have a guest on every 5 minutes, didn't he? Different content. I think every bit of content, the quiz has been different. I mean, I had some guests on yesterday. I had Ricky, we had Flex and Rants, we had DT, we had Loz, which was, I loved the hour with Loz as well. So we thought every little 3 hours has been really watchable. And I think there's some cracking bits of conversation in there. So really, really enjoyed that. And we've all done it differently. Anonymous from India, thank you very much. And Daniel, we've done. Anonymous, £100. Wow. Thanks to the United Stand and AFTV and all the fans. Thanks to the NHS staff and all the caretakers. And remember, stay in and keep safe. It's so important that we keep doing that. Robin Gustafsson, thank you very much. And Andrew S. David as well. Carl H. Some fantastic contributors there. And thanks everybody who has contributed and continues to contribute as we keep piling on the money for our NHS, which is absolutely fantastic. You can still keep doing that. The link's in the video description. There's a Hawks Hedge just put the donation link in the live comments. Monab says, what do you have to say to the younger generation of United fans who are 16? I think the younger generation of Arsenal fans, not Chelsea, you will remember a title, but Arsenal fans and United fans who haven't experienced the title or don't really remember a title. I mean, look, if you're 16 now, last time United won a title, you're like 9 or 10. You want to do it. You know, when you get in your teens, you start to feel like you're becoming an adult and you want to experience that. Just stick with it. You know, you support a team, you stick with it. And I think United will win a title again. They might only win one in the next 20 years. They might win 5. But stick with it. I think United are heading in the right direction. And even if they're not, they'll keep trying to. I mean, what's happened over the last 6 years is we just had bad decisions. But every decision they made was with the intent to try and get us back to winning titles. And eventually they'll either stumble on it or they'll make a right decision. Rockin' So says, great initiative. What's your perspective on Ollie developing players? Feels to me like most players have taken huge strides. And Muzzy Lion says, Mark, you guys have been brilliant in these times. Even the Arsenal lads just proves different ships, same sea. We will see this through. Hopefully you see you sooner rather than later in Dublin. I was gutted that we didn't get to do the Dublin thing, Muzzy. And as soon as things are back to normal, we will get that on the download and we will get that arranged at United Stand meetup. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a good developer of players? Martial's improved massively because of Solskjaer. As an ex-striker, probably not surprising, but it doesn't always work that way. I don't think Rashford's improved. I think Rashford's just improving naturally. Fred, I don't know that Fred's improved. I just think Fred's been given the opportunity. We spoke about Fred a couple of times last season and said, Fred might be a flop, but what he needs is 10 games in a row to see if he can get better and better. And he did, and he got that. So fair play to Ollie on that. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bruno, they're just good players that we've brought in. They're good signings. McTominay's getting better. Brandon Williams is coming in. So, look, you know, at the moment, it can go one of two ways with Solskjaer. We could be on a path towards good things, and I hope we are. It could still slip. You know, we could still get the least points we've ever had in a Premier League season, which is not a good thing, is it? So I think positivity, but aware that things could slip again. Sean Trainer was at the City United match. Didn't feel the same with your commentary. Without your commentary, though. Thanks, Mark, and everyone involved from Ireland, says Sean Trainer. Thank you, pal. I can't wait to start doing the watch-alongs again. I think it's going to be a very different world when football comes back, and I think we can't wait for it. But let's not forget, there will be no fan cams. Arsenal Fan TV, United Stand. Well done, United Stand and AFTV, so still quitting. And I'd like to talk about that, actually, and hopefully Robbie will drop on at some point. I'm trying to keep an eye on that. But, yeah, I mean, look, football's going to come back, everybody, and hopefully we're all going to be there. I mean, we're raising money for our NHS. The link's in the video description. Please do keep contributing because it's a serious reason why we're doing it, as we know. But football is going to come back. But how do how do we come back football? You know, from Arsenal fan TV point of view and the United standpoint of view, Flex, Rants, Robbie, DT, Claude, everyone, troops. Wonderful effort from United Stand and AFTV for the NHS and all the medical personnel who risked their lives to save us ours around the world. Love and support from India, says Akiles. Thank you very much, everybody. But how do we come back? I mean, my plan is, and if you are new, please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're back at 8 o'clock tonight. Your support today and over the last 4 hours has been fantastic. And, you know, the United Stand content is free, and just keep watching us. 8 o'clock, subscribe, and AFTV as well. But when football comes back, that first game, if it's Spurs, I'll do a watch along. That's what we do. But how's the rest of football going to react? Are people going to go, oh, well, that Goldbridge and United Stand do a watch along, so let's all do a watch along? I think we'll see that. I think there'll be loads of watch alongs. I think, you know, maybe even the mainstream media will do it, because they'll go, you know, we're not creative. Let's copy what fan channels do. I don't know. Fan cams, how are you going to do fan cams? Is Robbie going to go and wait outside the ground to do a fan cam, but watch it on a pub next door? I don't know. I think it's going to be we will get football back, and eventually we will get real football back, which is fans in the ground. It's the fan cams. It's what we love. But the first, I don't know what the super chat total is at the moment, Salah Ahmed. I'm front line. I'm not. That's behind the scenes, and I think YouTube have got something to do with that as well, because we're in discussions with those. But we will release that as soon as we know. But there is a percentage that YouTube will take, which we're trying to get them not to take. But every super chat, they take about 40 or 50%, I think. So, but everything we make from these streams will go on top of what we've made, which is why I'm very confident now that we will go over the 20,000, which is we needed to get to 15 from contributions, 16 really, and then we'll definitely do the 20. Even if we have to top it up ourselves, which we're going to put some on anyway. So keep contributing. Links in the video description. But we will get football back how we want it. But the football we're going to get back in the first to end this season, there will be no fans at the ground. Will the TV companies put every game on the TV? I think as a United fan, you're going to be pretty safe. Most of our games will be. But what about the game that was going to be the 3 o'clock kickoff? What about the Norwich versus Sheffield United? Where's that going to be? I think we could be spoiled in a way. Like, will every single game be available on terrestrial TV? Or will you just have to get Sky and BT, which I think you'll probably have to do again? So it's... Ollie says the fast food you miss the most. Mine's KFC. It's really hard to get a Chinese takeaway around our area at the moment. I don't know why. I mean, you can still get Indian takeaways, but... And Toby Aldridge says, thoughts on Declan Rice? Would you take him at United? You've obviously tuned in a bit late, Declan, because we did most overrated player in the Premier League and most underrated player in the Premier League. Ricardo Pereira at Leicester got voted most underrated. Declan Rice got voted the most overrated player. So there's your answer to that. Cheers for all the hard work. Absolute legend, says Collins RT. There's a lot of people who put a lot of work in. But yeah, so I presume every single game will be put into the... thanks to Cormac Lyons and Songwriter 95. I presume every game will be shown on the telly. But yeah, I think it's going to be. I think we're going to be so starved. But what I do think is going to happen is I think we're going to see football. I think we're going to see football come back somewhere else first. And perfect timing from Robbie. I thought it was in a United top then. That's like my one, but it's not. It's got Arsenal on it. We were just chatting there. We were just chatting there about. Well, first of all, let me just tell you that we are well over 15,000 now.
Awesome.
In fact, I think we're at 15,531 pounds. We've had David Ayres, Finley Perry, Caleb G, Anonymous, Matthew Paul, Charlie Reed, David LV, in the last few minutes. So keep contributing. Links in the video description. We've got an outside chance in 15 minutes of hitting 16k. So keep contributing. The links in the video description. And Anand says, great cause, amazing effort. We were just talking there, Robbie, about when football comes back and what it will mean, because I was saying there, you do your fan cams, Flex does the fan cams. I'm used to being, the watch alongs. It's going to be, we will get the football back we love, which is the fan cams and the fans at the ground, but immediately it's going to be behind closed doors. And will everything be on the telly? I think United and Arsenal will be all right, but Sky are going to have to sort out how they're going to do that as well. And,
I think I saw the other day where they were saying that with the Championship, they were sort of striking some sort of deal that if it does come back, they're going to be every single game will be showed live. So, and they will talk. There's also talk about them enabling them to do live games at 3:00. So it does look like, there'll be more than, just your usual live games that we have. It'll probably be for each team. It's just going to be weird watching loads of games behind closed doors. The one thing we do know, if there's no crowd, it's just not the same. But then we ain't watched no football for so long that maybe even without anybody there, it's still going to be better than nothing. But it's not the same when you watch a game when there's nobody there. It's just not the same.
No, I mean, our last game was the Europa League game, and that was behind closed doors. In the first 20 minutes, you were very aware of it, and then you forgot it. So we will get used to it, but I think we're going to get football back in stages, aren't we? I think we'd rather have something than nothing, and then hopefully we'll get it back with everything, and it'll be like, wow, imagine what it's going to be like the first time at Old Trafford or the Emirates when we've got everyone back. So we will get there.
A couple of interesting things I thought, right, is that first of all, I heard like an expert saying the other day that there's no real difference, he said, right, between a massive crowd of people, like, say, in the stadium, and, say, a gathering of, say, 10 people. He goes, if anything, a gathering of, say, 10, 20 people, where it's family members, where it's more intimate, maybe a birthday party or something, he goes, it would spread more there than it would be in a big stadium with loads of people where they wouldn't be as so close. So he was sort of suggesting that it wouldn't make that much of a difference. And then the other thing is as well, what I found very interesting, this morning, before you came on a stream I was doing, I interviewed about 3 fans from China. One guy's from Beijing, one guy from Shanghai, I forgot the name of the city the other guy's from, or the girls from Beijing. And they were talking about how they're sort of getting back to normal now. And, they haven't started football back yet. I think they said in June. But, they are returning back to normal, and they're saying that they have to go out, they have to wear a mask. But they're not having to keep the big social distances and stuff like that. So, and they're about 2 months behind us. And they were saying to me that when their football comes back, it's not necessarily going to be behind closed doors. It's going to be probably just a normal game. So when I heard them, I thought to myself, well, there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel and it could return, but they kept stressing the importance of sticking to those strict quarantine measures, right? They go, that's how they've managed to get through it. So we've got to do the same over here, or we won't get to that stage. But after listening to them, I was like, yeah, we could get through this, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. We definitely will. And we've got 12 minutes to go. Keep contributing. Links in the video description.
You're getting tired now, are you?
Yeah.
I see a stretch going on. He's getting tired, man. He's hitting him.
The problem I had is I finished the quiz at midnight, and then I could have gone to bed till like 7. But then I was chatting with Rants for a bit, and then I was watching yours, and then I woke up at like 3:30, and I thought I'll watch a bit of Flex and Rant. So yeah, but I've really enjoyed it. I don't know how you found it, but I have really. It sounds wrong to say I've enjoyed it, but no one enjoys what's going on and why we're doing it. But we didn't have to do it. We've done it, and I think how everyone's responded to it has just been fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's the people in it. When people are responding and donating and constant comments and commenting on everything, right? It sort of gives you a buzz, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh, this is brilliant. You know what I mean? So to see so many people involved and so many fans from so many different clubs, you know, getting involved, I think that's really, you know, we could have probably went on for another day. It would give you that energy, you know. So it's been brilliant. And DT was making a good point on our thing, saying that, you know, when we get through all this, maybe this can be something that we do on a year-to-year basis, or something that, you know, for different charities that we help to, because we've both got big followings. There's a lot of other people. I mean, if we can pull this off in a week, you know, there's other things we can pull off as well, you know what I mean? And, you know, a lot of these, us guys, you know what I mean? We're just like everybody else, man. We want to support the cause. So, no, I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been good, man. It's been good working with you. Good, you know, communicating with your fans as well. You know what I mean? It's been fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have as well. We've got 10 minutes to go. Links in the video description. Keep pushing. We've got nearly 5,000 watching, which is fantastic as well. I think the numbers have been stunning, considering. And well, let's give it a bit of insight. We were talking about this in the week. You know, let's call a spade here. I think when football's on, you know, you've got your fan cams, you've got your watch-alongs. I'll do a match reaction and I might have 20,000 watching. I might have a watch-along with 15,000 watching. I might have a Sunday night show with 10,000 watching if it's after a bad result. And the reality is, at the moment, you've got the hardcore fans of the channel. You've got the people who've been watching for years, and we've probably got around 4,000 or 5,000 people watching. So straight away, when you do something like this, you know, you've got half your audience to what you've normally got. So to do this,
or less,
you know,
you're right to pull that off. And I mean, I the other day I was looking at I remember the first I started doing some of these live streams. I was like, is that all that's watching? Right, in comparison to our normal. And then I started looking at what some other people were doing, big YouTube channels, right? And we were getting more live viewers than them. So I was like, oh well, you know, we've got to give thanks for this, because we ain't got no football going on, you know. So like you said, you know, it's brilliant that we pulled this off when there's no football going on. But you know, I think everyone's just got behind it. It's been brilliant.
Well, we've had a few more contributions as well. Keep them coming in. And remember, I mean, I'll come to you on that, Robbie, in a minute. Callum Palmer Jagles, he loves AFTV and Robbie and DT and Troops, and he's made a contribution. Thank you. Alexandria Holloway, Victoria Holloway, Summer 02, Oz. He says, big up Don Robbie and all those involved.
Big up.
Darren Lahr, George, Harvey E, Connor O'Donnell, a few anonymous ones as well. Thank you to the NHS for their fantastic work. Big up to United Stand and AFTV and everyone involved. Caleb G, David Hayes. I forgot I was going to ask you there, Robbie. I've just lost track of my mind now. There was something I was going to say.
You're forgiven for forgetting, mate.
But it's there's so many people who've been involved in it as well. You've had loads of guests on. We had the quiz last night. It's to turn it around in such a short period of time has been a real achievement. But the big thing we always said is that although it's AFTV and United Stand, the big thing is football fans for the NHS. And somebody was saying to me before about you know, does it annoy you about the lack of recognition from mainstream media and everything like that? And I was saying, but I think Robbie would feel the same. We're old enough to grow up off Match of the Day and Sky Sports, and I do like it. But this United Stand was about going somewhere that no one had been before. So football fans for the NHS, well, that's what we are, a football fan channel. We're not reliant, or if Sky or BT or anyone wants to get involved, that door's always open. But you don't expect it. Our audience is the fans, and the fan opinion that is what we crave.
That's it, and that's what it's been about with us from day one. I mean, sometimes I think that's what people don't get. You know, I mean, I can speak for myself, and I know you as well. I think I can speak for you on this as well. We're not clout chasing, trying to get onto, you know, any of those things. We've got our own platforms. I heard you saying yesterday when I was watching your stream that you rather do it on your own platform, and I'm like you. This is our platform that we've built. it's built for fans, and this is all about the fans and ordinary fans getting involved. I don't think that, there's no other platform like this where, you can hear from the ordinary fans. You can see the ordinary fans' messages clicking up on the screen, where we, no TV program would read out the amount of ordinary fans' messages like what we've done. No radio station would either. This is what we're here for. I think sometimes some of the haters, but we ignore them anyway. They're the ones who get it twisted and think it's just about us. It's not. This is built for the fans, and I think this has been fans in action over the past 24 hours. You've seen it. The fans have been in action, man, and they've been amazing. So you don't necessarily have to have a footballer come on or anything like that. It's all about you guys. So it's been amazing.
You're the stars of the show, yeah. I've always said that the fans are the stars of the show. That's the opinion I respect the most, because it's the most interesting and it matters the most. And the views on all the streams have been fantastic. I think last night on the quiz we had well over 7,000 for 3 hours, and it was great content. It was great content, brilliant. And if you are new to AFTV or United Stand, make sure you subscribe as well, because we are doing this content all the time. We've just been fortunate that we've been able to do it in a different way for this. They've been done in 3 hour streams, so people do keep watching. If you've not seen the quiz or you didn't see Troops and Expressions last night, make sure you go and watch it. There's clips on AFTV as well. The links in the video description for all those. So the contributions can keep coming in, which would be great.
What's been great as well is that we've done all this from home. Right? Yeah. There's been no setups, or there's been nobody to, you haven't been able to get a team of people around to sit with you, to somebody doing comments, you have to sit there and do it all yourself, scroll comments, do it all on your own, which has been brilliant. Although we have had guys that have, parts of our teams that have helped us to put it together. I want to big up everybody, big up Jackie, big up Laurie, Tao's been amazing, Loomis, big up all those guys, Brennan, your guys, Ben, Flex, Rants, yourself, obviously. Big up Isabella at YouTube. Really helped us a lot to get this going. So Isabella, big yourself up, and it's really been a team effort for us to pull it around in this very short space of time. It's been fantastic. But I can't wait for football to come back so I can start tearing into this guy again. Reminded of how we beat them 2-0, earlier on in the season. That seems like so far gone now.
Well, we did a social experiment about an hour ago. Somebody put it in the comments, and I said, I'm going to tweet that and see how it gets reacted. And basically what it was is, it's so long since United played, I can't remember whether I'm Ollie in or out, and that's how it feels, doesn't it? It's so long. It is.
It's true, man. It's like, wow, it's amazing.
We've hit 16k. We've gone up to 16,129. So people are just chucking money at it at the last few minutes, which is fantastic. Jonas G, Roman, Vipan, Cashel, 50 quid from Vipan. Really appreciate that. OJ Matthews, Andrew, a few anonymous, Andreas Peterson, Ken Gwist says the NHS have always been here for us. It's time we gave a little back. Also, big up to thousands of carers up and down the country. Well done, AFTV in the United Stand. He's given us 100 quid. We've had another 100 quid from an anonymous person saying, keep up the great work, everybody. Russ and Helen with 10. Andrew Chow with 10. Jack Bull. Look, everybody. I've tried to shout them all out. You've just been brilliant. And we've 16,129, which I think with super chats, we could safely say we'll go over the 20,000. And even if we don't, we'll knock. I'm going to knock some in from United Stand anyway. So we'll clear 20 grand easy. Yeah.
And that's an amazing figure. And people can keep still donate even after the streams are finished. That Just Giving page is still going to be up there. So you can still donate. We ain't even spoke about when we'll close it off, but you can keep donating. But it's been amazing. It has. And you know what? Again, I must say, 5,000 people watching, and there's a lot of people who won't be able to contribute or not old enough to contribute or anything like that. But I also know there's a lot of people who will have been watching so much of it, and it's very clear from the viewing numbers that there are a lot of people watching who are not just United Stand viewers or AFTV viewers. So thank you to everybody. Yeah, we're grateful for that support because, we know that's the other great thing, Mark. This is a time where, as I said, a lot of people ain't got money or it's uncertain times, you know what I mean? And if you unable to give, we fully understand. We fully understand that because it's tough times at the moment, So even you just been watching and supporting the streams, you don't know how much that's meant. That's been awesome. So
yeah, as I kept saying, when I was saying share the video, you're bringing your tweet or Facebook will make someone go, oh, didn't know they were doing that. They'll come in and they might give a $5. So, everybody's had the part to play. And
Lord Goldbridge, I like that. Sir Lord Goldbridge.
Sir Don Robbie. I'd rather be a Don. I'd rather be a Don.
Lord Goldbridge from now on, man. I like that. That's
we've hit midday. I'm just going to do one last final check. And 16,219, and that will keep going up. So
awesome.
I can't believe that. I can't really over the moon. I didn't doubt it, but it still took a lot of work for people to do it, and it took a lot of effort from all of you to get involved and do it. So we set that target, and we were like,
no chance.
but
it's been an unreal effort by everybody, and unreal effort by all of you guys on United Stand. Everybody, AFTV, football fans in general, it's been awesome. And I want to big up everybody in the NHS, right? Let's remember, we're doing it for them. We have sacrificed 24 hours to do this. And I was saying yesterday, remember, when I started doing my fourth stint at 6 a.m, I was like, think about it. There'll be some NHS workers, that's their shift. I remember my dad was in hospital the other day, right? And, I'd be there sometimes by my dad's bedside and I'd be there all day. And in the night would come in and I'd go home and there'd be like some nurses and, workers there. And I say to them, yeah, see you later. I'm going back to my brother's house. I'll be back in the morning. And they go, yeah. And then you come back in the morning, it's like 8 o'clock. And guys that, nurses and doctors and people that you saw the day before at before 8 o'clock, they were still there. I was like, you still here? They're like, yeah. Oh yeah, we still got an hour left of our shift. And they work some long hours. And you imagine now the intense stress that they're working under because they go to work. They don't even know if they're going to contract this thing and they might not even come home. So got to big up everybody in the NHS. It's not just words. What these guys are doing are amazing. Let's hope when we get through this that they get the respect that they deserve. I'm talking about every NHS worker. I think everybody respects a doctor. Most people respect a nurse, but there's lots of other staff around, a hospital. And I don't think sometimes they don't get the respect. Governments don't really respect them. They don't pay them enough. People just they respect them, but they don't remember the sort of work that they put in unless we're in hospital ourselves. But this is a chance for every one of us to really respect what these people do because they are putting their life on the line every time they go to work. And there's other people as well. I think people in shops at the moment, again, they're sacrificing it, not just for money, they're sacrificing. Suppose those people said, I ain't going. It's too risky. I ain't going to work. What will we eat? Truck driver says, I ain't driving a truck. Joking, man. I don't want to get this thing. How does anything get transported around the country? So they're keeping things going as we're staying at home and trying to keep safe. And I'm going to be forever grateful for them. So well done to the NHS. On top of that, they've done a great job with my dad when he was sick recently as well. It wasn't coronavirus related, but they've done a fantastic job. That was actually up in a hospital in Trafford Hospital in Manchester. They were brilliant, all the staff there. So well done to everybody in the NHS. Listen, we are eternally grateful. This is just a little something that we could do to just show our appreciation and all the fans to show their appreciation. And thank you.
Yeah, and there's not much more I can say to that. I mean, I used to work in emergency services myself, and I'll guarantee this is the case. Not NHS, but they will be doing ridiculous hours, which is why we wanted to do 24 hours, because it's got to be something that's challenging. And what will have happened with the government is they've underfunded and understaffed the NHS, and they will now chuck a lot of money at the NHS, but you've still only got so many nurses. So they'll be saying to those nurses, can you stay on? We'll pay you the overtime. And they'll do it. They'll probably do it for the money, but they'll also do it because of the main reason they do that job is to help people. So they'll be very tired, they'll be very overworked, which will lower their immune system, which means they're susceptible as well. So they are heroes without capes, and that's why we've done it, and that's why you've done it. And thank you, everybody. But most importantly, we've got to come out of this respecting these people. Well, the NHS are the prime people, but every key worker that's kept it going, the people stacking the shelves, everybody, because we would have been lost without them. But the NHS especially, and they're going to need our support, and they're going to need it for the next few weeks and months, because without them, we ain't getting any of our lives back. So massively humbled across both channels, and thanks to everybody who got involved, like we've said, and keep watching the content and keep contributing. And I'm sure you'll be back with your normal content on AFTV, Robbie, and we'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight.
We'll probably be, I don't know if I wake up in time, but we'll be back tonight with a bit of content. And Mark, it's been pleasure working with you, mate, and your guys as well. It's been a great effort by the two of us. I think fans have shown what we've always known, is that we are deadly rivals with our various teams, but we're easily able to put aside our rivalry when it comes to causes and comes to the greater good. You know what I mean? So fans sometimes get a bad name for that, but it's anybody who knows football knows that the fans, they'll always come together on a common cause. So no, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on your channel. Thank you to all your fans as well. And it's been a fantastic effort, man. And I think like we've sort of already spoken about, this inspires us to maybe as an annual thing. We'll do, we've got big audiences, lots of people who follow us. We can use this to give a little back, all of us collectively. So it's shown us that we can do that in the future. So amazing. And we are going to get through this, man. As I said, after speaking to those Chinese fans this morning, I'm kind of filled with a lot of hope, because they were in the place where we were. So, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right.
And one final thing I'm going to say before we go, we've got 5,000 people watching. Just share the video on Twitter and Facebook and just type in there, #footballfans for the NHS. If you can drop the link in there or anyone, just big yourselves up. Just put a tweet out there, say what a great job United Stand, AFTV and Football Fans did. Put how much we've raised, put the link in the video description. Just keep it that last little kick. Just give it that last little bit on social media, whether it's Facebook, Insta, Twitter. Just take the time to do something on social media, and people will become aware of what's going on. They'll contribute, and it will highlight what can be done, because there's a massive amount of positivity that we can take from this.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant, Mark. Brilliant.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. We'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight, but check out all the content if you've missed it, if you're late to the party. There's so much there on AFTV and United Stand, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Get some sleep, Mark.